Chapter 2208. Everyone, are you all right? Tenchu teased the people in the prison with a faint smile after killing the people from the Ting clan. Upon hearing Tenchu's words, the people in the prison immediately revealed bitter expressions. Was there a need to ask? If Mo Qingyun and the others had arrived a little later, they would have lost their lives. How were they doing now? Save them first. While Tenchu was teasing the people, Mo Qingyun instructed Qian, Linglong, and the others before moving to save the people in the prison. When Mo Qingyun rescued them, he discovered that their cultivation bases had been forcibly sealed. After learning about their situation, Mo Qingyun helped them remove the seals in their bodies after rescuing them. Thank you, little friend, and fellow cultivators for your help. After being rescued and recovering their cultivation bases, the people in the prison thanked Mo Qingyun and the others. After thanking Mo Qingyun and the others, an old man with a cultivation base at the sage-perfected realm nodded his head and praised Tenchu. Tenchu, I didn't expect that you would be able to find so many powerful friends after so many years. You did very well this time. Powerful friends? Upon hearing the old man's words, Tenchu smiled sheepishly and said, Ancestor Tiansong, you think too highly of me. I didn't find them. You didn't find them? Upon hearing Tenchu's explanation, Tiansong and the others looked at Mo Qingyun and the others in confusion. If Mo Qingyun and the others hadn't been found by Tenchu, could they have come on their own accord? Upon seeing the expressions of Tiansong and the others, Tenchu didn't keep them in suspense. He raised his hand and pointed at Mo Qingyun. This kid is the super genius of our clan, Mo Qingyun. As for the fellow cultivators beside him, they all came with him. What? He's Mo Qingyun? Didn't they say that when Mo Qingyun came to the clan, he was only at the Golden Immortal Realm? In just over 10 years, his cultivation base has broken through from the Golden Immortal Realm to the 9th Heaven Xian Immortal Realm. His cultivation speed is truly monstrous. When I heard some of his deeds back then, I knew that he was destined to be extraordinary, as expected of the person that I thought highly of. Obviously, Tiansong and the others had heard of some of Mo Qingyun's deeds. After the crowd mocked him for a while, Tiansong turned his head and looked at the people beside him. He instructed, Man Shao, after we leave this place, you guys bury the dead properly. Yes. Upon hearing Tiansong's instructions, Tiansong and the others immediately nodded their heads and went to tidy up the corpses. Not long after Man Shao and the others cleaned up the surroundings, Mo Qingyun and the others left the dungeon. Tenchu. In the main hall of Tenchu's palace. Qingyun, everyone has been rescued. Is it time to deal with the Ting clan? Tiansong sat at the top of the hall and revealed a friendly expression as he asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. Tiansong had a good impression of this talented junior. Moreover, Mo Qingyun had saved them. Therefore, it was necessary for him to ask for Mo Qingyun's opinion on dealing with the Ting clan. Upon hearing Tiansong's words, everyone's gazes turned to Mo Qingyun. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun glanced at everyone and said, Ancestor Tiansong, your injuries are not light. It's not good for you to immediately engage in an intense battle. There's no hurry to deal with the Ting clan. They can't escape anyway. Let's talk about it after your injuries have healed. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tiansong and the others all nodded. They believed that Mo Qingyun's consideration was reasonable. Although dealing with the Ting clan was important, it was indeed unwise for them to fight with the Ting clan in their current state. Then, Tiansong and the others did not think too much about it. They all went to cultivate and heal their injuries. While Tiansong and the others were healing, Mo Qingyun did not relax at all. He was constantly on guard against any attacks from the Ting clan. The rest of the time passed just like that. Everything was calm and peaceful. However, everyone knew in their hearts that a violent storm was about to arrive. While Tiansong and the others were healing, the Ting clan's ancestors all returned to the main clan. Ting Clan's Conference Hall. Ting Hui, tell me everything that happened in the clan without leaving out a single detail. Ting Tai sat at the top of the hall and ordered Ting Hui, who was below him, with a dignified expression. When Ting Hui heard Ting Tai's order, he revealed a respectful expression and reported, Ancestor Ting Tai, Mo Qingyun, whom I told you about, has returned to the clan not long ago. He even brought a group of Saint Realm powerhouses with him. After he returned to the clan, he forcefully rescued the prisoners. Ting Hui recounted everything that had happened without missing a single detail. After listening to Ting Hui's account, Ting Tai immediately frowned and his expression became grave. With his experience and wisdom, he could naturally tell that Mo Qingyun and the others were difficult to deal with. I didn't expect a golden celestial stage lad to grow to this stage. This lad's growth is too fast. If we continue to let him live, he will become a huge threat in the future. We have to get rid of him. Since this lad has returned, we can't let him escape this time. We have to kill him. When Ting Tai and the others heard about Mo Qingyun's deeds, their expressions became ruthless. They wanted to kill Mo Qingyun. After knowing everyone's thoughts, Ting Tai did not want to waste any time. He immediately stood up and said, Tian Song and the others have just been rescued. Their cultivation has not fully recovered. They are weak now. This is the best time to deal with them. After Ting Tai finished speaking, he did not want to waste any time. He immediately prepared to deal with Mo Qingyun and the others. Ancestor Ting Tai, please wait. Ting Hui's expression changed when he saw Ting Tai's action. He quickly stopped Ting Tai. At Ting Hui's shout, Ting Ran stopped in his tracks and said with a displeased expression, Ting Hui, is there anything else to report? It's like this. In order to be foolproof when dealing with Mo Qingyun, before all of you returned, I agreed to the Dark Demon tribe's request. Ting Hui had a nervous expression on his face as he reported everything that had happened to Ting Kuan. Hence, I feel that in order to avoid alerting the enemy, we should wait for the Dark Demon race to arrive before dealing with Mo Qingyun and the others. Ting Hui, how dare you? Do you know the consequences of doing this? Ting Tai's face darkened when he heard Ting Hui's decision. He shouted angrily at Ting Hui and said, once Tian Song and the others have recovered from their injuries, their combat strength will be extraordinary. There is no need to wait for the Dark Demon tribe. Let's deal with Mo Qingyun and the others immediately. Chapter 2209. Before long, a terrifying aura shrouded the sky above Tenchu Palace. The arrival of these powerful auras attracted the attention of Mo Qingyun and the rest. They all walked out of Tenchu Palace. Mo Qingyun had just walked out of Tenchu Palace when he saw several figures standing in the sky above Tenchu Palace. These guys came pretty quickly. It seems like they don't want to give Ancestor Tian Song and the rest time to heal. Looking at Ting Liang and the others in the air, Mo Qingyun's heart was like a clear mirror. He immediately knew what they were thinking. At that moment, as Mo Qingyun was looking at Ting Hao and the rest, Tian Song and the rest walked out of Tenchu Palace. Mo Qingyun frowned slightly when he saw Tian Song and the rest. However, he did not say anything. He knew that Tian Song and the rest would not be able to heal in peace under the current circumstances. It was good that Tian Song and the rest had come out. If the two sides fought later, they could share some of the pressure. After all, Tian Song and the rest were at a high cultivation level. Even if they were injured, their fighting strength should not be underestimated. Ting Hao, you are doomed to destruction if you continue to be unjust. I advise you to turn back as soon as possible so that you don't end up killing yourselves. Tian Song's expression was cold as he looked at Ting Hao and the rest in the sky. He tried to persuade them. Ting Hao immediately sneered when he heard Tian Song's words. His eyes were filled with disdain as he said, Tian Song, are you joking with me? Based on your strength, do you have the right to say this to us? Ting Hao did not stop talking after he mocked Tian Song. He continued, Don't forget how we imprisoned you. Don't think that you can fight us just because you were rescued by a junior. Tian Song and the rest's expressions turned serious when they heard Ting Hao's words. They all looked at Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun knew what Tian Song and the others were thinking when he saw their actions. He waved his hand at them indifferently and said, "Don't worry. The Ting lineage is much weaker than I imagined. I alone will be enough to deal with them." Emo Qingyun had already sensed the cultivation base of the people from the Ting lineage when the two of them were talking. The strength of Ting clan's people was much weaker than he had expected. Ting Lei was the strongest among them, and he was only at the late stage of the Sage Realm. If he had not condensed the Saint Power star cluster, he would definitely not be a match for Tian Song, let alone Qian Linglong and the others. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Tian Song and the others immediately relaxed, and their hanging hearts relaxed a little. Although they did not think that Emo Qingyun could defeat Ting Liang and the others on his own, they did not think that Emo Qingyun would be able to defeat them. However, since Emo Qingyun said so, with the help of Qian Linglong and the others, it should not be difficult for him to deal with Ting Ting Ran and the others. "You are Emo Qingyun?" Seeing that Tian Song and the others were looking at Emo Qingyun, Ting Lei also looked at Emo Qingyun and asked in a condescending manner. As Ting Lei spoke, he released an imposing aura that pressed down on Emo Qingyun. "That's right." Under the pressure of Ting Lei's imposing aura, Emo Qingyun remained unmoved and nodded calmly. "You are indeed extraordinary to be able to remain unmoved under my imposing aura." Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Ting Lei praised Emo Qingyun and said, "Young man, although you have some conflicts with our lineage, I admire your talent. As long as you are willing to submit to me, I can assure you that no one will dare to offend you in the future." "There is no need for that. You will not have the chance to offend me in the future." Emo Qingyun rejected Ting Lei's suggestion without the slightest hesitation as he replied calmly. When he heard Emo Qingyun's words, Ting Lei's face darkened. He knew what Emo Qingyun meant. Emo Qingyun was saying that he was going to exterminate the Ting lineage that day. Naturally, the Ting lineage would not dare to offend him. "Since you have a death wish, don't blame me for it." No matter how good Ting Lei's temper was, he could no longer remain calm after hearing Emo Qingyun's words. He said angrily, "In order to prevent something like this from happening again, kill them all. There's no need to leave anyone alive." Yes. When they heard Ting Lei's words, the Ting lineage's sage-grade powerhouses immediately charged towards Emo Qingyun and the others. When Emo Qingyun saw that Ting Lei and the others had made their move, he nodded at Qian Linglong and the others and said, "In that case, play with them. Don't be in a hurry to kill them. Use them to train your combat strength." "Alright." When they heard Emo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong and the others nodded in agreement. They remembered what Emo Qingyun had said. Then, Qian Linglong and the others moved and charged towards Ting Lei and the others. "Let's go." When Tian Song and the others saw that Qian Linglong and the others had made their move, they did not hesitate and immediately joined the battle. Since Qian Linglong and the others had shared the burden of the Ting lineage's sage-grade powerhouses, Tian Song and the others did not feel much pressure. Most importantly, they were outnumbered. Hence, they were not in any danger. In this way, even if they had not fully recovered from their injuries, they would not be affected. When Ting Lei saw that both sides were fighting, his eyes flickered and fell on Emo Qingyun. Then, a cold smile appeared on Ting Lei's face as he charged towards Emo Qingyun. "Oh no, Ting Lei wants to deal with Qingyun. That shameless old man. Old bastard Ting Lei, come at me if you dare. What's the point of attacking a junior? Qingyun, be careful. Quickly retreat to our side." When Tian Song and the others saw Ting Lei's actions, they were worried and reminded Emo Qingyun. Compared to Tian Song and the others who were worried, Qian Linglong and the others were much calmer. They acted as if nothing had happened. They had no choice. They knew Emo Qingyun's strength too well. Wanting to injure Mo Qingyun with Ting Lei's strength was simply a fool's talk. Young man, now I will let you know the consequences of going against me. After a few flashes, Ting Lei arrived in front of Mo Qingyun and revealed a ferocious smile. At that moment, in Ting Lei's eyes, Mo Qingyun was like a fish on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Now that you mention it, I am looking forward to it. Mo Qingyun did not care about Ting Lei's attack at all. He looked at Ting Lei calmly. Although Ting Lei had condensed the Saint Power star cluster, his strength was nothing compared to Chao Xiong's. With Mo Qingyun's current strength, it would not be difficult for him to deal with Chao Xiong, let alone Ting Lei. You won't cry until you see the coffin. Ting Lei's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun's performance. He raised his hand and struck towards Mo Qingyun. Heavenly Demon's star-splitting palm. When Ting Lei struck out with his palm, a terrifying wave of Saint Power erupted from his palm. Chapter 22:10. Your Heavenly Demon's star-splitting palm is too weak. Mo Qingyun was not afraid of Ting Hao's attack. He smiled disdainfully and said, "The Heavenly Demon's star-splitting palm is not supposed to be used like this. Let me show you the real Heavenly Demon's star-splitting palm." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he no longer hesitated and immediately blasted his palm into the air. Instantly, a terrifying flame energy quickly gathered on his palm. The moment the aura fluctuation on Mo Qingyun's palm was released, it was immediately sensed by the people around him. What a powerful aura fluctuation! Is this lad's cultivation really only at the 9 heavens Xian celestial realm? Ting Hui is such a useless thing. How could he not report to us about such a terrifying threat earlier? This lad's wings are fully grown. It's impossible to deal with him now. When the Saint Stage powerhouses from the Ting faction sensed Mo Qingyun's aura, they began to panic. Compared to the people from the Ting faction, Tian Song and the others were secretly delighted even though they were shocked. Good lad. He really hid his strength well. He didn't even reveal it when he possessed such powerful strength. No wonder this lad said that he could deal with the people from the Ting faction alone. With the strength that he has displayed, it won't be difficult for him to deal with the people from the Ting faction. I finally understand why Lady Ling Long and the others were not worried when Ting Hao attacked Qingyun. When they saw Mo Qingyun's battle prowess, Tian Song and the others were overjoyed. They became excited. To them, the stronger Mo Qingyun was, the easier it would be for them to deal with the people from the Ting faction. No. Impossible. This can't be true. When Ting Hao saw Mo Qingyun's strength, he was so frightened that his body trembled and his face turned pale. He could sense that Mo Qingyun's true battle prowess was probably above his own. Fire of civilization, Heavenly Demon's star-splitting palm. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, a huge flaming palm shadow blasted out from Mo Qingyun's palm. The flaming palm broke away from Mo Qingyun's palm and collided violently with the giant black palm in midair. Boom! A loud noise was heard. Following that, when the two palms collided, a terrifying energy wave was generated. At the same time as the powerful energy waves wreaked havoc, the black palm shadows that Ting Feng had blasted out began to fall apart at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, Ting Lei's giant black palm turned back into a ball of saint energy. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were once again shocked, their eyes filled with disbelief. Sensing Mo Qingyun's aura, they could tell that Mo Qingyun was very powerful. However, they did not expect Mo Qingyun to be so powerful that he could easily crush Ting Lei. It should be known that Ting Tai's current strength was even stronger than Tian Song, who was at the Saint Perfection realm. Did you notice? Qin Yun's palm seems to be mixed with the fire of civilization. Someone told me before that Qin Yun had once guided the fire of civilization into his body. I didn't expect it to be true. This kid can actually integrate the fire of civilization into his bloodline superpower. He's really a genius. The heavens are really blessing our heavenly soul demon clan for such a genius to appear in our clan. Is there going to be another master of civilization in our heavenly soul demon clan after billions of years? Seeing that Emo Qinyun could use the fire of civilization, Tian Song and the others were ecstatic and excited. At this moment, they could not help but hope that Emo Qinyun would become the new master of civilization. Fire of civilization, Imperial Seal Spiritual Eye. After defeating Ting Lei's attack with one palm, Emo Qinyun did not stop attacking and attacked Ting Lei again. A terrifying wave of fire energy burst out from Emo Qinyun's left eye, flashing with dazzling red light. A threatening flame mark turned into a red stream of light and blasted into Ting Lei's sea of consciousness. Ting Lei immediately screamed after being hit by Emo Qinyun's soul attack. His origin spirit had been severely injured by Emo Qinyun. Soon after, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth and his face paled. He actually integrated the fire of civilization into his God Eye superpower. What kind of talent does this kid have? He seems to have strengthened all of our bloodline superpowers. Not only is this kid talented, but he's also shockingly bold to try strengthening bloodline superpowers. Most importantly, he succeeded in all of them. This ability is too monstrous. This kid can't be allowed to live. Otherwise, he'll become our clan's nightmare. He's already our clan's nightmare. Seeing Emo Qinyun's astonishing performance, the powerhouses of the Ting lineage all felt a chill run down their spines. The feeling that Emo Qinyun gave them was too terrifying. Even Tian Song and the others could not compare to him. If they allowed Emo Qinyun to continue growing, they would only be slaughtered by Emo Qinyun. Ghost Shadow Slash. After using his eye superpower to severely injure Ting Lei's origin spirit, Emo Qinyun took out Tiger Soul. Tiger Soul fell into Emo Qinyun's hand. Emo Qinyun swung it and slashed at Ting Lei. Then, Emo Qinyun's figure flashed, creating 9 doppelgangers that attacked Ting Lei together. Seeing the 10 Emo Qinyun rapidly approaching, Ting Lei was so frightened that his body trembled and his face turned as white as paper. In his senses, the 10 Emo Qinyun's auras were exactly the same. He could not tell the real one from the fake. Not only that, but the weapons in the hands of the 10 Emo Qinyun also gave off the same feeling. Could it be that all 10 of them are real and have the ability to attack? When this thought appeared in his mind, Ting Lei's face turned even paler and the fear in his heart intensified. Looking at the approaching Emo Qinyun, Ting Lei hastily chose one of the doppelgangers and roared, "Kid, if you want to kill me, you'll have to pay a painful price." As soon as Ting Lei finished speaking, he took out a long sword and slashed at one of the doppelgangers. Clang! When the sword and saber collided, a crisp sound was heard. The doppelganger's attack was blocked. This kid's superpower has been blocked. When he saw that the doppelganger's attack was blocked, Ting Lei's expression immediately became joyful and excited. In his opinion, he was lucky to have blocked Emo Qinyun's powerful superpower. Puff, puff. However, before Ting Jin could feel proud of himself, streaks of saber light bombarded his body. After being attacked by the saber light, Ting Lei's eyes widened in disbelief. He said, 10 of them are real. How is this possible?" Chapter 22:11. The Dragonblood Firehawk clan was a subordinate clan of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. They were very close to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. At this moment, a black-robed old man hurried over from the sacred land of the Dragonblood Firehawk clan. This old man was none other than Zihua, who had left the discussion hall of the Ting clan and returned to pass on a message to Quebec. In the discussion hall of the Dragonblood Firehawk clan, Divine Ancestor ZK, Ting Hui has already made his decision. He has accepted our request. Zihua arrived in the discussion hall and passed on Ting Hui's decision to ZK, who was seated at the front of the hall. ZK smiled coldly when he heard Zihua's message. He nodded in satisfaction and said, Ting Hui knows what's good for him. Otherwise, the outcome would be completely different if we invaded the Heavenly Soul Demon clan en masse. Zihua and the others all nodded in agreement to ZK's words. If they conquered the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, it wouldn't be as simple as negotiating terms. The Heavenly Soul Demon clan would be plunged into misery and suffering. ZK muttered to himself. He frowned as he realized that something was amiss. He asked doubtfully, based on Ting Hui's previous attitude, he shouldn't have agreed to our conditions so easily. Why did he suddenly change his mind? Zihua immediately remembered Ting Hui's additional condition when he heard ZK's question. This subordinate has been careless. I forgot to report Ting Hui's additional condition to you. Zihua looked guilty when he heard ZK's question. He immediately explained to ZK. The reason why Ting Hui suddenly agreed seems to be because Mo Qinyun has returned to the clan. They feel great fear. Mo Qinyun has returned to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan? ZK's expression immediately changed when he heard that Mo Qinyun had returned to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Then, he smiled mockingly and said, Not long ago, I heard from Yun Xiao that Mo Qinyun's strength has increased greatly again. I'd like to see just how much he's grown. Zihua paused when he heard ZK's words. He continued, Divine Ancestor, Ting Hui's additional condition is for us to help him get rid of Mo Qinyun. They want me to help them get rid of Mo Qinyun? ZK immediately sneered when he heard Zihua's words. He shook his head. That's not a request at all. Even if he didn't request it, we would still get rid of Mo Qinyun. To the dark demon race, Mo Qinyun was also a terrifying hidden danger. If they didn't eliminate him, they wouldn't be able to eat or sleep in peace. Since that's the case, let's not hesitate anymore. Let's go and meet Ting Hui immediately. Knowing that Mo Qinyun had returned to the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, ZK could not wait to meet Mo Qinyun. Back then, in the ancestral tomb of the Magus clan, he had always held a grudge against this kid who had made him suffer a loss. Under ZK's command, the experts of the Dark Devil clan immediately gathered and rushed towards the Heavenly Soul Devil clan. The Dragonblood Firehawks were very close to the Tianhun demons. It only took ZK and the others an hour to arrive at the Great Hall of the Ting lineage. Long time no see, clan leader Ting Hui. Seeing Ting Hui in the hall, ZK revealed a hypocritical smile and greeted Ting Hui with a faint smile. Ting Hui was overjoyed when he saw ZK and the others. He said excitedly, Divine Ancestor ZK, you're finally here. Please help Ancestor Ting Liang and the others as soon as possible. Alright. ZK agreed to Ting Hui's request without hesitation. He said, Clan leader Ting Hui, please lead the way. In fact, when ZK arrived, he had already sensed the terrifying commotion from the Tenchu Palace. However, since he hadn't seen Ting Hui yet, he wasn't in a hurry to make a move. After all, the life and death of the Ting lineage didn't matter to him. Divine Ancestor, seniors, please follow me. After hearing ZK's instructions, Ting Hui didn't dare to delay and immediately led the way. At the Tenchu Palace, Ting Liang's aura dissipated. His body fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. When the people from the Ting lineage saw that Ting Liang's body had fallen without any aura, their faces changed drastically. Ting Liang, who was the most powerful among them, had been killed by Mo Qinyun. How were they going to fight against Mo Qinyun? With their strength, they would only be slaughtered if they were to face Mo Qinyun's powerful attack. At that moment, when the people from the Ting lineage were in despair, terrifying auras approached rapidly. Ancestors, Divine Ancestor ZK is here to help us. This time, we'll definitely be able to kill Mo Qinyun. When Ting Hui arrived with ZK and the others, he revealed a smug smile and reported excitedly. When the people from the Ting lineage saw that ZK and the others had arrived, they heaved a sigh of relief. They felt as though they had just survived a disaster. It had to be said that Ting Hui's reinforcements had come at the right time. It was like sending charcoal in snowy weather. If ZK and the others hadn't come, they could only wait to die. Ting Hui, you've done well. A late sage-old ancestor of the Ting lineage praised Ting Hui when he saw Ting Hui approaching him. I've done well? Ting Hui was dumbfounded when he heard the ancestor's praise. He felt as though his brain wasn't working properly. He clearly remembered that not long ago, Ting Liang had reprimanded him because of this. Where's ancestor Ting Liang? Ting Hui thought of Ting Liang. He looked around to search for Ting Liang's figure. Ting Hui scanned the crowd and still couldn't find Ting Liang. He asked, Ancestor Ting Liang, why don't I see Ancestor Ting Liang? Where is he? Ting Liang's expression darkened when he heard Ting Hui's question. He looked at Ting Liang's corpse. Ting Hui followed Ting Liang's gaze and saw Ting Liang's corpse. His eyes widened immediately. Ting Liang was dead. In less than 2 hours, the strongest ancestor from the Ting lineage had been killed by Mo Qingyun and the others. At this moment, he finally understood why Ting Liang said that he had brought reinforcements in time. Based on the current situation, the Saint Stage ancestor from the Ting lineage would have died if ZK and the others had not come to help. When Ting Hui thought of this, he felt a sense of lingering fear. He was glad that he had agreed to ZK's request. While Ting Hui and the others were talking, Mo Qingyun's gaze fell on ZK. He exclaimed, ZK, the Ting lineage has surrendered to the Dark Devil clan. Fortunately, I returned in time. Otherwise, the Heavenly Soul Devil clan would have fallen as well. Mo Qingyun, it's been a long time. When ZK sensed Mo Qingyun's gaze, he looked at him and greeted him as though they were old friends. ZK's face turned gloomy after he greeted Mo Qingyun, and he said, All those years ago, I allowed you to escape because I was merciful to you in the Shaman clan's ancestral tomb. You won't be so lucky this time. Mo Qingyun didn't refute ZK's words. The situation back then was indeed so. Chapter 22:12. ZK, you've neglected a very important point. You're not the only one who has improved. Mo Qingyun looked at ZK calmly and retorted, Back then, in the ancestral tomb of the sorcerer faction, if it weren't for the fact that you had more people and a higher cultivation level than me, and that I had to protect sky-devouring beasts to accept the inheritance, how could I have been forced into a desperate situation? ZK couldn't help but frown when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He realized that he had overlooked something. Mo Qingyun's words weren't false. Back then, he was alone and weak, but now, things were completely different. Each of the people around Mo Qingyun exuded an aura that was extremely powerful. What? Divine Ancestor ZK and Mo Qingyun have fought before, and it seems that the battle was very intense. More than 10 years ago, Mo Qingyun was only a golden immortal, but he was able to fight against Divine Ancestor ZK. This kid is too monstrous. If we don't get rid of him, he'll be a great trouble in the future. It seems that Mo Qingyun and the Dark Demon clan have a lot of hatred between them. When they heard the conversation between ZK and Mo Qingyun, Ting Liang and the others revealed surprised expressions, and they were extremely surprised by this. After realizing this, a cold smile appeared on their lips, and they felt proud in their hearts. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun had offended the Dark Demon clan, so they would definitely not let him go. In this way, they did not have to worry about dealing with Mo Qingyun at all. There's nothing to say. Since you're here, let's fight. After communicating with ZK, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He exuded a strong fighting spirit and said, Those who offend my clan will be killed without mercy. Good, what a good those who offend my clan will be killed without mercy. Kill. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tian Song and the others immediately felt their blood boil, and they also had a strong fighting spirit. Then, the two sides began to fight each other. The battle was like a raging fire. Qingyun, we'll deal with the Ting branch. You guys focus on dealing with the dark demons. Tian Song instructed Mo Qingyun after the two sides began to fight. He looked furious as he said, "The Ting family has colluded with outsiders. Today, I'll carry out the clan's rules and punish these traitors for putting righteousness before family." All right. After hearing Tian Song's instructions, Mo Qingyun immediately nodded in agreement. Now that Ting Lei had been killed, the battle prowess of the Ting clan had been greatly reduced. Ting Liang and the others were also injured, so it was not difficult for Tian Song and the others to deal with them. As for the dark demons, although they outnumbered the Ting clan, they were stronger than the Ting clan. However, with the strength of Mo Qingyun and the others, it would not be too difficult for them to deal with them. Among them, the only one who was relatively strong was ZK, who was at the Sage Perfection realm. ZK, I'll deal with him personally. You guys deal with the others. Mo Qingyun glanced at the battle and instructed Qian Linglong and the others. Then, he rushed towards Quebec. Boy, you think too highly of yourself if you want to deal with me. A cold smile appeared on the corners of ZK's mouth when he saw Mo Qingyun moving towards him, and his expression was filled with contempt. In his opinion, if Mo Qingyun did not use any superpower, he could kill Mo Qingyun with a flick of his finger. Even if Mo Qingyun relied on external forces, with his current strength, it would be easy for him to deal with Mo Qingyun. With this thought in mind, ZK's expression became playful as he said, "Boy, to thank you for your help, I'll show you the power of the number 1 bloodline on the 10,000 Archean tribe board. Creation Universal Sword." As soon as ZK finished speaking, he took out a long sword and started to brandish it rapidly. Under ZK's brandishing of the sword, the sky suddenly changed color. Clouds surged, sand and stones were blown away. At this moment, it was as if the entire world was under ZK's control, becoming his weapon to kill his enemies. Soon, streaks of sword lights with threatening auras condensed in every corner of the world and blasted towards Mo Qingyun from all directions. Absolute beginning creation bloodline. ZK actually planted such a bloodline. Seeing the power of ZK's superpower, Mo Qingyun was shocked. His expression became solemn as he thought to himself, "No wonder ZK is so confident. It turns out that he has such a fortune. The superpower he's using now should be the absolute beginning creation divine tribe's superpower." At this moment, Mo Qingyun was a little envious of Quebec. He had actually awakened the absolute beginning creation divine tribe's superpower. After all, he had awakened the absolute beginning creation bloodline much earlier than Quebec. It had to be said that ZK's luck was very strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's surprised expression, ZK guessed what Mo Qingyun was thinking. The complacent expression on his face deepened as he said, "Kid, I'm afraid you don't know. The absolute beginning creation bloodline in my body is thanks to you." "Thanks to me?" Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed as a puzzled expression appeared on his face. His heart was filled with doubts. Seeing Mo Qingyun's puzzled expression, ZK sneered and said, "Back then, in the shaman faction's ancestral tomb, this old man took away the blood that flowed out from your injuries. After returning to the clan, I planted it in my body. Don't you think this is thanks to you?" "So it's like this." After listening to ZK's explanation, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He finally understood the origin of ZK's bloodline. After knowing the origin of ZK's bloodline, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he said, "Since your bloodline came from me, I'll take it back today. As for your life, I'll take it as well." 9x9 Demon God-Slaying Sword Formation. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out 81 long swords and formed a powerful sword array. As the sword formation was formed, it emitted an earth-shattering aura that enveloped Mo Qingyun in the center. Under the protection of the sword formation, the sword radiance that shot towards Mo Qingyun was immediately blocked. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, ZK's eyelids immediately twitched as a strong sense of shock emerged on his face. No, this is impossible. This kid's strength has reached such a level without using the fusion superpowers. The combat strength that Emo Qingyun displayed was truly a little too great of an impact on ZK. ZK really did not expect that Emo Qingyun, who used to have powerful superpowers but was very weak, would become so strong. In just over 10 years, he had grown to such a level that he could compete with him head-on. This kind of improvement was too terrifying. This kid's growth is too fast. Today I'll kill him here at all costs. Seeing Emo Qingyun's speed of improvement, ZK felt a lingering fear. His killing intent towards Emo Qingyun was extremely strong. Chapter 22:13. Emo Qingyun, I have to admit that your growth speed is very shocking, but it's time to stop. While ZK was speaking, the aura he emitted skyrocketed several times in the blink of an eye. Many light spots with shocking auras quickly appeared outside his body, emitting shocking Saint Power waves. Saint Power light clusters. ZK actually condensed a Saint Power star cluster. Looks like the false saints of the dark demon race are about to transform. Seeing the Saint Power star cluster outside ZK's body, Emo Qingyun was shocked and his expression became serious. If the dark demon race obtained the cultivation method from the outer realm, they would definitely spread it widely so that the saints in their race could become true saints. With ZK's cultivation at the perfection saint realm, his strength would undoubtedly become terrifying now that he had condensed a Saint Power star cluster. A total of 137 Saint Power star clusters, a bit more than Chao Xiong. Seeing the number of Saint Power star clusters outside ZK's body, Emo Qingyun's expression became even more serious. He was even more wary of ZK. It seemed that ZK's true strength might be above Chao Xiong's. Sky Nether Demon Eye Sword. ZK threw the long sword in his hand. It immediately bloomed with black light and flew into the air. The long sword flew into the air and released a ball of black light, giving off a cat's eye view. Immediately after, streaks of black transparent sword radiance burst out from within. These transparent sword lights flew out and emitted a terrifying aura, directly blasting into Emo Qingyun's sea of consciousness. This is a soul attack. In the face of ZK's attack, Emo Qingyun was immediately startled, and shock appeared on his face. Soul-type attack techniques were very rare. A technique as powerful as ZK's was even rarer. Fire of Civilization. Emperor Seal Killing Spirit Eye. Facing the attack of the transparent sword light, Emo Qingyun's eyes flashed and a mini-eye power imprint blasted out. The mini-eye power imprint blasted out and met the transparent sword light, colliding with them. Poof, poof, poof. Under the impact of the eye power imprint, the transparent sword light that blasted into Emo Qingyun's sea of consciousness was instantly destroyed. After destroying the soul imprint in his sea of consciousness, Emo Qingyun relaxed, but his expression was still tense. He didn't expect ZK's strength to increase so much in the past decade. The divine power has been broken? Seeing Emo Qingyun's consciousness quickly recover without any soul injury, ZK's eyes immediately widened. He was well aware of the power of his attack. Even a perfection saint realm expert would be hard-pressed to come out unscathed after being attacked by this divine power. Who would have thought that Emo Qingyun had actually done it? This was a bit shocking. This brat really cannot be underestimated. Looks like I'll have to use my full strength. Seeing Emo Qingyun's strength, ZK's face was filled with anger, and he unconsciously clenched his fists. The stronger Emo Qingyun was, the more intense his desire to kill Emo Qingyun. He didn't dare to let Emo Qingyun continue to grow. Ghost Shadow / Fleeing Shadow. After blocking ZK's soul divine power, Emo Qingyun took out the tiger soul and slashed at ZK. As Emo Qingyun slashed the tiger soul, his figure flashed and transformed into 9 doppelgangers. 9 phantom doppelgangers appeared and disappeared from where they had been standing with Mo Qingyun. After a short while, Mo Qingyun's figure appeared, and he was already in front of Z Quebec. This kid's divine power is much stronger than before. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's slash, ZK's face was filled with shock. He knew very well that if he was hit by Mo Qingyun's attack, he would be skinned alive even if he didn't die. Creation Absolute Saint's Sword. Facing the attack of Mo Qingyun and his doppelgangers, ZK immediately raised his hand and retrieved the long sword in the air. With the long sword in his hand, ZK quickly swung it and slashed out streaks of sharp sword radiance. The sword radiance blasted out like dragons and blasted toward Mo Qingyun and his doppelgangers. Clang clang clang, a series of crisp sounds rang out. The sword radiance blasted out by ZK was instantly destroyed by Mo Qingyun and his doppelgangers and turned back into waves of saint power. When the sword radiance was destroyed, Mo Qingyun and his doppelgangers paused for a moment. Taking advantage of this time, ZK's figure flashed and distanced himself from Mo Qingyun. Trying to escape? Not so easy. Seeing ZK retreat, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold and a red light flashed in his left eye. Then, a flaming eye power mark blasted out from Mo Qingyun's left eye. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's soul attack, ZK immediately screamed in pain. At the same time, there was a brief moment of dizziness in his consciousness, and his running footsteps paused for a moment. Ghost Shadow slash, Escaping Shadow. While ZK was in a daze, Mo Qingyun immediately chased after him and slashed at him again. Then, the 9 doppelgangers and Mo Qingyun appeared in front of ZK in a flash. I can't escape. ZK had just regained consciousness when he saw Mo Qingyun and his doppelgangers approaching. His eyes widened. Then, ZK did not wait for his death and immediately waved the long sword in his hand to block. However, there was too little time and ZK did not have time to use his superpower. He could only block the attacks instinctively. Under ZK's frantic defense, although he was able to block the attacks of a few doppelgangers, he was unable to block all of them. Puff puff puff, Mo Qingyun and the remaining doppelgangers' attacks landed on ZK's body one after another, leaving hideous wounds. Under Mo Qingyun's powerful attacks, ZK was sent flying. His clothes were immediately dyed red with blood. Divine Ancestor is injured. He can't defeat Mo Qingyun. No, this can't be true. Even with Divine Ancestor ZK's powerful strength, he can't defeat Mo Qingyun. What kind of freak is this kid? How can he be so powerful? Seeing Mo Qingyun and ZK's battle, the Ting lineage and the Dark Demon race were shocked. The scene before them had a huge impact on them. Good kid. You always bring surprises. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Tian Song was overjoyed and said excitedly. Now that Mo Qingyun had severely injured ZK, it undoubtedly increased the fighting spirit of the Heavenly Soul Demon race. Under the shocked gazes of everyone, ZK's face darkened and he said coldly, "Kid, I have to admit that I underestimated your strength once again. However, the battle should end now. Since you were able to force me to such an extent, you can die honorably." Chapter 22:14. It didn't take long for ZK's aura to reach a whole new level. Although he hadn't entered the nebula grade, ZK's strength had already surpassed Chao Xiong's. Of course, this wasn't what shocked Mo Qingyun. What really shocked Mo Qingyun was that there were actually dozens of bloodline auras fluctuating on ZK's body. 63 bloodline auras. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he sensed the bloodline auras on ZK's body. His heart sank all of a sudden. At this moment, he couldn't help but think of the Dark Demon race's remnant spirit in the tomb of the Inheritance Continent. It seems like Zi Yunxiao entered the Inheritance Continent and obtained the inheritance of the Dark Demon race. Seeing ZK's current performance, Emo Qingyun immediately knew where his mystique had come from. If that was really the case, it would be many times more difficult for Emo Qingyun to deal with the dark demon race. The only thing that Emo Qingyun was glad about was that this mystique hadn't been popularized yet based on ZK's and the others' performance. Currently, only a small number of people had mastered this mystique. Ordinary dark demon race powerhouses didn't know how to use it yet. Fortunately, the other dark demon race powerhouses don't know how to use this bloodline fusion mystique. Seeing that the surrounding dark demon race powerhouses didn't use this mystique while fighting with Qian Linglong and the others, Emo Qingyun felt much more relaxed. Otherwise, the situation wouldn't be good for them. Even if they managed to kill ZK and the others in the end, they would have to pay a terrible price. Emo Qingyun, today, this old man will let you experience the might of my sacred race's supreme secret technique. While Emo Qingyun was pondering, ZK's aura reached its peak and stabilized at the quasi-nebula grade. As soon as ZK finished speaking, he activated the bloodline power in his body to increase his combat power. Creation Universal Sword. As ZK waved the longsword, it immediately blossomed with a dazzling light that caused the sky to change colors. Then, streaks of imposing sword light blasted toward Emo Qingyun from all directions. 9x9 Heavenly Demon Sword Formation. Facing ZK's attack, Emo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately took out the 81 divine weapons to defend himself. Under the control of Emo Qingyun, the 81 divine weapons quickly formed a sword formation and welcomed the incoming sword radiance. Clang clang clang, when the 81 divine weapons collided with the surrounding sword light, a crisp sound immediately rang out, creating a storm of force. However, to Emo Qingyun's surprise, after the surrounding sword light was blasted away by the sword formation, it immediately condensed again. This is the power of the Genesis bloodline. Emo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the sword light's performance. He guessed the reason for their recovery and said in surprise, "Who would have thought that ZK would actually use the power of the Alpha Origin creation bloodline on his own ability?" As the sword light could not be defeated, Emo Qingyun was in a passive situation. He could only continuously defend against the surrounding sword light. ZK revealed a complacent expression when he saw that Emo Qingyun had fallen into a passive state. He sneered and said, "Emo Qingyun, if it wasn't for your Genesis bloodline, it would be impossible for my battle prowess to rise to such a level even if I had fused with my bloodline." Seeing ZK's proud expression, Emo Qingyun's expression turned serious. His gaze gradually turned cold as he said, "ZK, your performance has indeed surprised me. However, you are not the only one with a trump card. Unseal." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he formed a series of hand seals that landed on the 81 divine weapons. Immediately, the originally ordinary 81 divine weapons immediately bloomed with dazzling flowing light. At the same time, the aura that the 81 divine weapons exuded immediately became many times stronger. As the power of the divine weapons was fully activated, the power of the sword formation immediately increased by many times. Under the tyrannical bombardment of the sword formation, the sword rays that were attacking from all directions were immediately dispersed. Because the power of the sword formation was too great, the sword lights were shattered and destroyed. Therefore, they could not be reformed. 1 Cosmic Cloud State Divine Sword, 29 Quasi-Cosmic Cloud State Divine Swords, and 54 Extreme Grade Divine Sword. Seeing the true power of the 81 divine weapons, ZK's eyes immediately narrowed. Emo Qingyun's current performance was too impactful for him. Fire of Civilization, Demonic Star Shattering Palm. Emo Qingyun controlled the sword formation to break ZK's god art. Immediately, he struck out another palm at Z Quebec. Emo Qingyun struck out with his palm. The fire of civilization that he released also skyrocketed by more than a few times. Subsequently, a huge flaming palm with the power to incinerate the heavens and earth struck towards ZK forcefully. The power of the fire of civilization in this palm strike is much stronger than before. This kid was still holding back. Seeing the power of Emochingyun's palm, ZK's old face immediately trembled. His face became a little pale. From Emochingyun's display of power, he was no longer a match for Emochingyun. If he was not careful, he would be killed here. ZK's expression tensed up when he realized this. His face darkened and he said, "That damn brat, he's growing at such a shocking speed. If I plant 100 different kinds of blood meridians, I might be able to fight against him." ZK felt very aggrieved. In just a little more than 10 years, his and Emochingyun's identities were reversed. Seeing Emochingyun's cultivation speed, ZK felt extreme fear. If he gave Emochingyun another 10 years, it would be terrifying. At this moment, his heart was filled with regret. If only he hadn't been soft-hearted in the ancestral tomb of the shaman lineage. Creation soared. While ZK was regretting, he did not dare to be careless. He immediately blocked Emochingyun's palm. ZK quickly waved his long sword and immediately sensed everything in the world. He used the power of everything in the world. Following that, streams of sharp energy converged from all directions. After a while, the power condensed into a sword radiance and blasted toward the giant flame palm. Bang! The sword radiance collided with the giant flame palm and immediately exploded into a huge palm, blooming with light. However, the sword radiance did not last long. It was destroyed by the giant flame palm and quickly dissipated in the air. After the giant flame palm destroyed the sword radiance, it crushed down on ZK and sent him flying. Boom! ZK heavily smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater and raising a cloud of dust. After severely injuring ZK, Emochingyun was not in a hurry to attack again. He looked down at the cloud of dust. After a while, the cloud of dust dissipated, revealing ZK's figure. At this moment, he was in a sorry state. His clothes were tattered, his hair was dry, his face was pale, and his aura was weak. If one did not know him, they would have mistaken him for an old beggar who was dying. Seeing ZK's miserable state, Emochingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. Chapter 22:15. If you want to kill me, just do it. After sizing up Emochingyun for a while, ZK's mind froze and he looked like he was waiting for death. In his opinion, given the hatred between him and Emochingyun would definitely not spare him. When he saw ZK's reaction, Emochingyun placed his hands behind his back and spoke with the bearing of an emperor. ZK, out of consideration for the fact that you repeatedly gave me a chance to escape in the ancestral tomb of the shaman clan all those years ago, I'll give you a chance to live today. You won't kill me? Hearing Emochingyun's words, ZK's eyes widened. He thought he had misheard. To him, Emochingyun's current action was too abnormal. After a short moment of surprise, ZK's face darkened. He looked at Emochingyun with hostility and said, "Given the hatred between us, you have no reason to spare my life. Tell me your conditions." Divine Ancestor ZK is straightforward. You've gotten to the point in one sentence. Seeing that ZK had gotten to the point, Emochingyun did not beat around the bush. His expression became serious as he said, "ZK, you should be able to see that it's only a matter of time before I destroy the Dark Devil clan." Hearing Emochingyun's words, ZK immediately fell silent and did not refute. He could see that with Emochingyun's speed of growth, it was indeed very likely that he could destroy the Dark Devil clan. Seeing that ZK was silent, Emochingyun's expression softened a little. He said, "If you're willing to submit to me, when I destroy the Dark Devil clan one day, I'll only kill the clan leader and elders of the Dark Devil clan and leave some ordinary bloodline for the Dark Devil clan." "Are you serious?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, ZK's eyes immediately lit up. He was tempted. In his opinion, if he submitted to Mo Qingyun, he would leave a way out for the Dark Devil clan. If there really came a day when Mo Qingyun destroyed the Dark Devil race, it would be good if he could leave some bloodline of the Dark Devil race. Of course. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently in response to ZK's question and said, "I'll give you 3 breaths of time to consider. I hope you can consider it carefully." Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, ZK's brows furrowed tightly as he pondered. He was very clear that once he submitted to Mo Qingyun, he would become a sinner of the Dark Devil race. From now on, he would have to bear a great grievance and be constantly hunted down by the dark demons. "All right, I promise you." ZK pondered for a moment. For the sake of the dark demons, he made a difficult decision. It couldn't be helped. Mo Qingyun's growth was too fast, which made him feel a strong sense of unease. Although the Dark Devil clan was also growing stronger, he could not guarantee that the Dark Devil clan would win against Mo Qingyun. Therefore, he now recognized Mo Qingyun as his master and left a way out for the Dark Devil clan. Very good. Seeing ZK's performance, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and nodded at ZK in satisfaction. After expressing his willingness to submit, ZK's expression tensed up again as he said, "Before I submit to you, I have a few requests to make. If you can't agree to them, then I'd rather die here." When ZK said this, his expression was filled with determination. He had already made up his mind to die. "Tell me." Mo Qingyun did not immediately reject ZK's request. He nodded at ZK with interest. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, ZK did not hesitate and immediately stated his request. He said, "My request is very simple. You can't force me to kill the members of the Dark Devil clan. Moreover, I won't participate in the process of dealing with the Dark Devil clan." "Alright." Mo Qingyun agreed to ZK's request without hesitation. He could understand ZK's feelings. After accepting ZK's request, Mo Qingyun did not waste time talking nonsense with him. He directly ordered, "Alright, open up your spiritual sea and let me plant a soul brand in it." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, ZK looked helpless and opened up his spiritual sea. Then, Mo Qingyun used the fire of civilization to condense a soul brand and planted it in ZK's spiritual sea. ZK greets Master. With a soul brand in his spiritual sea, ZK had a complicated expression and bowed respectfully to Mo Qingyun. He did not expect that after more than 10 years, when he confronted Mo Qingyun again, it would be him submitting to Mo Qingyun. This huge reversal of status made him feel very uncomfortable. "Stabilize your injuries first. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen next," Mo Qingyun instructed ZK. In a flash, he went to deal with the Ting branch and the Dark Demon clan. Mo Qingyun came to Qian Linglong and the others to help them deal with the Dark Demon clan. "Master, why didn't you kill ZK?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun had spared ZK's life, King Devourer was puzzled and immediately asked Mo Qingyun. Hearing King Devourer's words, Qian Linglong was puzzled and looked at Mo Qingyun. "ZK has submitted to me." Hearing King Devourer's question, Mo Qingyun simply explained and said, "We'll talk about ZK later. Let's deal with these people first." "ZK has submitted to you?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and the others widened their eyes. They were shocked by this news. In their opinion, with ZK's status and identity in the Dark Demon clan, how could he have agreed to submit to Mo Qingyun? Although they were very puzzled, Qian Linglong and the others did not ask any more questions and continued to attack the Dark Demon clan. What? Divine Ancestor ZK has submitted to Mo Qingyun? This can't be true. This must be Mo Qingyun's scheme. He's deliberately using this to destroy our morale. Look, Divine Ancestor ZK is recuperating and did not come to help us. It seems like this is most likely true. No. I can't accept this. Hearing Mo Qingyun and the others' conversation, the experts of the Dark Demon clan were in disbelief. At the same time, their fighting spirit and morale were greatly damaged. The Dark Demon clan's fighting spirit and morale were greatly reduced. The combat strength that they displayed was also greatly damaged because of this. In addition, Mo Qingyun had joined the battle. The Dark Demon race's elites immediately fell into a situation of being slaughtered. In a short while, the experts of the Dark Demon clan were all killed by Mo Qingyun and the others. Next, it's your turn. After killing the experts of the Dark Demon clan, Mo Qingyun looked at the people of the Ting lineage with a strong killing intent in his eyes. Chapter 22:16. The experts of the Dark Demon tribe have been killed by Mo Qingyun and the others. Saint Ancestor ZK seems to have been subdued by Mo Qingyun. He has become one of Mo Qingyun's generals. This can't be real. It must be an illusion. It must be an illusion. I can't believe that the Ting family will be annihilated by a junior. I can't accept this. Ting Liang and the others were indignant when they saw the current situation. They roared with grief and indignation. They had seized control of the Heavenly Soul Demon tribe and were about to be annihilated in just a few months. This kind of huge psychological gap was too hard for them to accept. Let's do it. Mo Qingyun glanced at the people from the Ting family. He did not want to waste time talking nonsense with them. He directly ordered Qian Linglong and the others. When they heard Mo Qingyun's order, Qian Linglong and the others immediately responded and joined the battle. The people from the Ting family were already having a hard time dealing with Tian Song and the others, let alone Mo Qingyun and the others. Under the attack of Mo Qingyun and the others, the people from the Ting family were immediately slaughtered. Subsequently, the Sage Realm experts from the Ting family were killed by Mo Qingyun and the others. Soon, all the people from the Ting family were killed by Mo Qingyun and the others. Ancestor Tian Song, I will leave this place to you. I will go to the courtyard of the Ting family. After killing the people from the Ting family, Mo Qingyun instructed Tian Song and went to Ting Zhao's residence. Since the people from the Ting family had been killed, it was time to take down Ting Xiao and Ting Jiang as well. Most importantly, Mo Qingyun had a strong doubt in his heart. He did not understand how he had attracted Ting Zhao's attention and caused Ting Xiao to send people to kill him. Logically speaking, Ting Xiao should not have known about him before he came to the Heavenly Soul Demon tribe. Mo Qingyun felt that this was too abnormal. There must be some secret behind it. It wasn't long before Mo Qingyun arrived at the Ting clan's courtyard and walked into Ting Xiao and Ting Zhao's residence. Ting Xiao, Ting Jiang, you two scram out here. Sitting in Ting Zhao's courtyard, Mo Qingyun didn't break in. Instead, he shouted towards their room. When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, Ting Xiao and Luo Yunyang, who were cultivating, were shocked. Ting Hui and the others went to deal with Mo Qingyun, but the other party ran to their residence. This was somewhat unusual. Shocked and puzzled, Ting Xiao and the other man walked out of the room with tense expressions. They knew very well that since Mo Qingyun had come here, it was impossible for them to hide. Mo Qingyun, my father has already informed the patriarch. None of you will be able to escape. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was sitting in front of him, Ting Jiang's eyes were cold as he spoke ruthlessly to Mo Qingyun. However, if one listened carefully, one could clearly hear that Ting Jiang did not have much confidence in his words. Are you referring to Ting Tai and the others? Mo Qingyun smiled playfully at Ting Jiang's question. He asked Ting Jiang in return, I'm sorry, but I killed all of them not long before I arrived. The ancestors were all dead. When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, Ting Xiao and Luo Yunyang immediately trembled and their legs went soft. This news was like a bolt from the blue to them. powerful existences like Ting Tai and the others were actually killed by Mo Qingyun. Could it be that the end of the Ting lineage had arrived? As if he felt that Ting Xiao and Luo Yunyang were not shocked enough, Mo Qingyun paused for a moment before continuing. In addition, I'll tell you another piece of news. I've also eliminated all the helpers from the Dark Devil clan that Ting Hui found. Asterisk thump thump thump. Asterisk under the impact of Mo Qingyun's words, Ting Zhao's heart thumped and he could not help but take a few steps back in shock. The Dark Devil clan that Ting Hui found was his last hope. He did not expect that Mo Qingyun would also destroy it. No, this can't be true. With the strength of Ancestor Ting Tai and the others, how could they be killed by you? Thinking of the powerful strength of Ting Tai and the others, Ting Jiang was agitated and could not accept this fact. Mo Qingyun did not care about Ting Jiang's shock at all. As soon as he finished speaking, his expression turned cold and he said, "I'll let you know before you die. This is the most benevolent thing I can do for you." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he stretched out a finger and pointed it at Ting Jiang's head. Suddenly, a terrifying force gathered at the tip of Mo Qingyun's finger. An imposing finger radiance shot out from Mo Qingyun's fingertip and pierced through Ting Jiang's head. Then, Ting Jiang's eyes widened and he fell to the ground with remaining grievances. Seeing Mo Qingyun's decisive action, Ting Zhao's eyes widened and a trace of panic appeared on his face. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to act so decisively. There was no warning at all when he made his move. "It's your turn now." Looking at the shocked Ting Xiao, Mo Qingyun sneered. He was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he said with a faint smile, "Ting Xiao, the reason why I haven't killed you is because I want to ask you a question." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Ting Xiao snorted and turned his head away. He said, "The winner takes all. You'd better stop dreaming if you want to get information from me." Seeing Ting Xiao's reaction, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. He sneered and said, "You think that I can't do anything if you don't tell me? You're too naive. Demonic eye soul stealing." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a dim light flashed in his eyes and a terrifying soul power burst out. The soul power emerged and turned into a huge eyeball. It emitted a ray of eye force and enveloped Ting Xiao. Then, a miniature version of Ting Xiao was pulled out from the top of his head. His primordial spirit was pulled out. Boom! As soon as Ting Xiao's primordial spirit was pulled out, it exploded and turned into a ball of pure soul power. Ting Xiao's primordial spirit self-destructed. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression was one of shock. He was extremely surprised by this scene. After a short moment of shock, Mo Qingyun frowned and said to himself, "Ting Xiao can't self-destruct his primordial spirit under the effect of the demonic eye-seizing soul. Someone must be controlling his primordial spirit. It seems that the one who is chasing me is the one controlling his primordial spirit." As soon as Mo Qingyun thought about it, he found the key point. His expression became serious. He did not expect that Ting Xiao, who had always been against him, was not the culprit. This power seems to be Ja's flame power. It seems a little familiar. Mo Qingyun felt a familiar aura in Ting Xiao's soul power. He raised his hand and took it into his hand. Chapter 22:17. The Incense Forest. After knowing the source of the incense power, Mo Qingyun's doubts were resolved. He knew who was controlling Ting Xiao. It turned out that Ting Xiao's sudden pursuit had something to do with the statues in the incense forest. I didn't expect the statues in the incense forest to be able to control Ting Xiao silently. When Mo Qingyun received this news, he was slightly shocked. He immediately had a plan. In that case, after I settle the matters of the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan, I have to find time to make a trip to the incense forest. I will pass by the incense forest on my way to the immortal desolate world. After resolving the doubts in his heart, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer. he began to return to the Tenchu Palace. When Emo Qingyun returned to the Tenchu Palace, Tian Song was organizing the members of the clan and convicting those who had betrayed the clan. "Qingyun, you're back. Have you settled the matters?" Seeing that Emo Qingyun had returned to the main hall, Tian Song immediately greeted him warmly. His expression was filled with gratification and admiration. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed that the person who had saved the Heavenly Soul Demon clan this time was a genius from the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm. "It's settled." Emo Qingyun nodded indifferently in response to Tian Song's question. He said, "Ancestor Tian Song, since the crisis in the clan has been resolved, I may have to leave the Heavenly Soul Demon clan." "You're leaving the Heavenly Soul Demon clan?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Tian Song's eyes widened. He was extremely shocked. Originally, he had thought that after he settled these trivial matters, he would announce that Emo Qingyun had succeeded the clan leader of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Now, Emo Qingyun said that he was about to leave the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. This news came too suddenly. "That's right. I still have some matters to settle. I can't stay in the clan for long." In response to Tian Song's shock, Emo Qingyun explained simply. "Then," he said, "go and gather everyone. Later, I will impart the cultivation method to condense the Saint Power Star Cluster to everyone to cultivate." "A technique to condense the Saint Power Star Cluster?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Tian Song was stunned at first, then became excited. Naturally, he knew that the reason why Ting Liang and the others' strength had soared was because they had cultivated such a cultivation method. "I'll summon everyone here." Suppressing the surprise in his heart, Tian Song left the main hall and gathered everyone in the main hall. After Tian Song left the hall, Emo Qingyun did not stay any longer and went directly to ZK's residence. He wanted to see if the grade of ZK's Outer Realm cultivation art was higher than the 9 temples of the Sun Nebula cultivation art. If ZK's cultivation was of a higher grade, he would impart ZK's cultivation method to Tian Song and the others. At the same time, he wanted to use this matter to observe how well ZK carried out his orders. Before long, Emo Qingyun arrived at ZK's residence and found ZK recuperating. "Greetings, Master." Seeing that Emo Qingyun had arrived at his residence, ZK showed a respectful expression and immediately bowed to Emo Qingyun. "No need for formalities." Emo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at ZK's action and said, "I'm looking for you now mainly to see the difference between your Outer Realm cultivation method and mine." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, ZK's expression changed slightly and he understood what Emo Qingyun meant. "I'll record the entire content of the cultivation method for you." After guessing Emo Qingyun's thoughts, ZK did not waste any time and immediately recorded the cultivation method that he had cultivated. After a while, ZK put down the brush in his hand and handed a scroll to Emo Qingyun. He said, "Master, this is the Starry River freezing technique that I've cultivated. Please take a look." "Alright." After receiving the scroll from ZK, Emo Qingyun began to scan it and compare it with the 9 temples of the Sun Nebula technique. As Emo Qingyun scanned the book, he was surprised to find that the grade of the starry sky sealing Milky Way art was actually higher. According to the description of the Starry River freezing technique, one could break through to the initial stage of the galaxy grade if they cultivated it to the extreme. However, Emo Qingyun had cultivated the 9 temples of the Sun Nebula technique. Once he cultivated it to the perfected nebula grade, he would need to change his cultivation method. Although the Starry River freezing technique is of a high grade, it's not as good as the 9 temples of the Sun Nebula technique in terms of combat effectiveness. When Emo Qingyun discovered the advantages of the Starry River freezing technique, he also discovered some of its shortcomings. Although the Starry River freezing technique is of a high grade, it isn't very difficult to cultivate. It's very suitable to impart it to everyone. After some comparison, Mo Qingyun came up with a plan in his mind. He left ZK's residence and prepared to return to the main hall of the Tenchu Palace. When Mo Qingyun returned to the main hall of the Tenchu Palace, everyone had been summoned by Tian Song and was waiting for him. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. Mo Qingyun came to the main hall and nodded apologetically to everyone with a humble expression on his face. Everyone waved their hands indifferently at Mo Qingyun's actions. They didn't seem to be dissatisfied with his actions. Qingyun, come and sit with me. When he saw Mo Qingyun enter the main hall, Tian Song immediately gestured and offered his seat to Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't refuse Tian Song's gesture and walked directly to the top of the main hall. I will now use my immortal spiritual energy to project the incantation for the starry sky sealing Milky Way technique. Quickly memorize it. Mo Qingyun walked to the front of the great hall and sat down. He then formed a hand seal and materialized the art of freezing the starry sky and Milky Way. Soon, a huge transparent screen appeared in the middle of the main hall. Lines of simple and unadorned words appeared on it. When everyone saw the screen, they immediately became excited and quickly memorized the words on the screen. Everyone present was a saint. With their powerful memory, it was easy for them to forcibly memorize the technique. Not long after, the cultivation chant of the starry sky sealing Milky Way technique was memorized by everyone. After imparting the formula to everyone, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. He stood up and said to everyone, I will be staying in the clan for a while. During this time, if there is anything you don't understand, you can come and ask me at any time. After explaining to everyone, Mo Qingyun left the main hall and walked back to his residence. In the battle with ZK, the power of my bloodline ability was clearly insufficient. It seems that it's necessary to change it. Chapter 22:18. Mo Qingyun returned to his room and began to comprehend the outer realm mystiques in his mind. He analyzed the characteristics of each outer realm mystique. Yin-yang split palm, peak sacred mystique. When cultivated to the extreme, the power of yin and yang can be derived. One palm strike can make one wish for death. Meteor falling sword. Elementary nebula stage magical ability. When cultivated to the peak, it can cause meteors to fall, causing destruction that can destroy the heavens and the earth. Rising Dragon Sky Blade, Advanced Nebula Mystique. When cultivated to the extreme, the sacred dragon's power will be released with every strike, causing one to lose the will to fight. Information about the outer realm mystiques appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind, and he analyzed them one by one. The yin-yang split palm's grade is too low. Even if I cultivate it to the extreme, it will be eliminated very quickly. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and eliminated the yin-yang split palm. He began to analyze the other outer realm mystique. Meteor fall sword's power is not bad, but this mystique is suitable for one against many. I can't use it yet. Next, Mo Qingyun carefully selected all the outer realm mystique. In the end, he chose 3 mystiques to cultivate. They were the Rising Dragon Skyblade, the Yin-Yang Dual Pupils, and the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Overlord Body. The Rising Dragon Skyblade's grade was very high. In addition, he was used to using the Tiger Soul, so it was very suitable for him to cultivate. As for why he chose the Yin-Yang Dual Pupils, it was naturally related to his Heavenly Spirit Demonic Eyes. Mo Qingyun's Heavenly Spirit Demonic Eyes were his trump card when he fought with others. He couldn't give it up so easily. When he cultivated the Yin-Yang Dual Pupils to perfection, the power of his Heavenly Spirit Demonic Eyes would multiply. Mo Qingyun's strength would definitely increase greatly. As for the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Overlord Body, it was a powerful body tempering technique that could cultivate the Dragon Source Overlord Body. Mo Qingyun's current physical strength was comparable to a high-grade sacred weapon. It was perfect for him to cultivate the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Overlord Body. Once he cultivated the Dragon Source Overlord body, he would be able to create a Lightning Dragon domain. Any enemies trapped within the domain would be attacked by ancient lightning dragons. Other than that, cultivating the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Overlord body to perfection would also give birth to the Holy Dragon bloodline. According to Mo Qingyun's understanding, the Holy Dragon Source Overlord body's bloodline was Holy Overlord body. Overlord Heaven's Overlord body, Heaven, and Overlord body. Since the outside world's divine abilities were too powerful, Mo Qingyun had decided to enter the Fortune mainland to avoid causing too much commotion. Overlord body was World Overlord body. Heaven Overlord God was Overlord Divine Overlord God. Overlords had Overlord Heaven was Overlord had. Split Overlord. Chop. Mo Qingyun slashed out with his saber, and a golden light immediately appeared on the tiger soul. Then, it condensed into a golden dragon shadow. Once the golden dragon was formed, it turned into a beam of golden light and flew towards Mo Qingyun's target. It turns out that the golden dragon image created by using the soaring dragon heavenly saber is an additional soul attack. When he saw the golden dragon, Mo Qingyun immediately understood what made Rising Dragon Heaven Blade so powerful. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun no longer thought about it and wholeheartedly immersed himself in cultivation. Following that, as Mo Qingyun continued to cultivate, his grasp of the Rising Dragon Heavenly Saber became more and more thorough. Approximately 5 days later, Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the Rising Dragon Heaven Saber finally entered the level of minor accomplishment. I've already grasped the basics of Rising Dragon Heaven Blade. Next, it's time to practice Yin-Yang dual pupils. Seeing that his grasp of Rising Dragon Heaven Blade had reached the level of minor accomplishment, Mo Qingyun did not continue to cultivate it. Yin-Yang dual pupils was relatively more complicated than Rising Dragon Heaven Blade. It had 2 types of attacks, Yin-Yang Vision and Yang Vision. Yin-Yang Vision was a soul attack, while Yang Vision was a physical attack. My left eye specializes in soul attacks, and my right eye specializes in physical attack. Yin-Yang dual pupils is practically tailor-made for me. After reading the introduction of Yin-Yang dual pupils and comparing it to his actual situation, Mo Qingyun was immediately overjoyed. With such a foundation, he would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort if he wanted to master the Yin-Yang dual pupils. Yin-Yang Vision, Soul Annihilation. Yang Vision, Body Annihilation. After using Yin-Yang dual pupils, Mo Qingyun's left and right eyes immediately shot out 2 beams of eye power. When the 2 beams of eye power shot out, they exuded a terrifying aura that made one feel as if death was approaching. Seeing the performance of Yin-Yang dual pupils, Mo Qingyun was immediately shocked. He realized that it was different from the bloodline mystique. The Imperial Seal Spirit eyes and Sky Star Piercing eyes were both very domineering, but the Yin-Yang dual pupils were more gentle. In comparison, the Yin-Yang dual pupils were more difficult to defend against and would be broken bit by bit. After understanding the characteristics of Yin-Yang dual pupils, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it and focused on cultivating it. With his previous foundation, Mo Qingyun did not expend too much energy to cultivate Yin-Yang dual pupils. Similarly, Mo Qingyun only used 5 days to cultivate Yin-Yang dual pupils to the level of minor accomplishment. It's time to cultivate Mad Lightning Dragon Source Body. Mo Qingyun was looking forward to it after he cultivated both the Ascending Dragon Heavenly Saber and the Yin-Yang dual pupils to the initial level. He really wanted to see what kind of benefits he would get from cultivating the Mad Lightning Dragon Source Body to the level of minor accomplishment. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that the conditions to cultivate the Mad Lightning Dragon source body were extremely harsh and complicated. To cultivate the Mad Lightning Dragon source body, one must be in a sea of lightning. Looking at the conditions to cultivate the Mad Lightning Dragon source body, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but frown as he pondered. If that's the case, I can only go to the Rolling Lightning Devil Sea if I want to cultivate the Mad Lightning Dragon source body. Since I can't cultivate the Mad Lightning Dragon source body, I should leave the Fortune mainland. With a thought, Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland and returned to his room. After returning to his room, Mo Qingyun did not linger and immediately walked out of his room. He thought to himself, I wonder if Ancestor Tiansong and the others encountered any problems during this period of time. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun went to Tiansong's residence and inquired about everyone's cultivation situation. Under Mo Qingyun's inquiry, Tiansong immediately gathered everyone and asked Mo Qingyun to resolve their worries and doubts. Under Mo Qingyun's careful guidance, everyone's doubts were resolved one by one. Chapter 22:19. Very soon, Mo Qingyun found Tiansong and the others. They walked into Tenchu Palace together. Ancestor Tiansong, I've come to say goodbye to you. Mo Qingyun did not beat around the bush when he sat down in the main hall of Tenchu Palace. He directly stated his intentions. Tiansong and the others were shocked when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They were reluctant to part with him. Although they already knew that Mo Qingyun was leaving the Heavenly Soul Demon clan, they were still reluctant to part with him when they heard it. They had not known Mo Qingyun for a very long time, but they still appreciated and valued this talented junior. Since you have something to take care of, I won't keep you. Tiansong sighed and said emotionally. His expression became more serious. He said, Qingyun, no matter where you are in the future, I hope you can always remember that the Heavenly Soul Demon clan will always stand behind you. We will always be your solid shield. Yes, I know. Mo Qingyun was touched when he heard Tiansong's words. He nodded at them. After exchanging greetings with Tiansong and the others, Mo Qingyun did not say anything else. He took out a few copies of the Outer World Great Skills and said, Ancestor Tiansong, I obtained some Outer World Great Skills in a secret realm. These are the chants that I've recorded. Take them and let the Saint Stage ancestors in the clan cultivate them. Outer World Great Skills. Tiansong was shocked when he saw the books that Mo Qingyun handed over. Then, excitement appeared on his face. Ever since he cultivated the Celestial River method of Icebound Starry Sky, he discovered how powerful the Outer World Great Skills were. Now, Mo Qingyun had given him some Outer World Great Skills. How could he not look forward to it? Okay. Tiansong was slightly stunned. He took the copies of the Outer World Great Skills from Mo Qingyun's hands. After that, Mo Qingyun chatted with Tiansong and the others for a while before he left the hall. After Mo Qingyun left the main hall, he led Qian Linglong and the others to the Rolling Thunder Devil Sea. In the cabin of the Divine Prefecture clan's flying boat. While they were on the way, Mo Qingyun gathered everyone in the cabin. Qingyun, why did you call us here? Seeing that Mo Qingyun had gathered everyone, Qian Linglong revealed a curious expression and took the lead to ask Mo Qingyun. Upon hearing Qian Linglong's question, King Devourer and the others were also curious. They wanted to know why Mo Qingyun had summoned them. Under the curious gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun took out some handwritten copies of superpowers and said, I have recorded all the superpowers from the outer world that I got from the Shenju Palace. You can choose some that are suitable for you to cultivate. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone was pleasantly surprised and looked at the handwritten copies of the superpowers. In a short while, everyone had made their choice and entered the Fortune mainland to cultivate. Since ZK had already cultivated the superpowers, he did not choose any of them and decided to cultivate his original superpowers. ZK, Control the flying boat and inform me when we reach the rolling thunder devil sea. After instructing ZK, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered and entered the Fortune mainland. In the following time, Mo Qingyun and the others immersed themselves in cultivation as they traveled. After about 10 days or so, ZK steered the flying boat and arrived above the rolling thunder devil sea. Master, we have arrived at the rolling thunder devil sea. With ZK's soul transmission, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered and appeared in the flying boat's cabin. When Mo Qingyun entered the cabin, he sent ZK to the Fortune mainland and flew towards the thunderclouds above the rolling thunder devil sea. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered several times as he charged into the thunderclouds and endured the violent lightning strikes. Chi, bolts of lightning with powerful auras bombarded Mo Qingyun's body, madly eroding his flesh. However, Mo Qingyun's physical body was too strong. Although these lightning bolts were terrifying, they could not cause him any harm. Mo Qingyun did not care too much about this and immediately circulated the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Tyrant body. As he circulated the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Tyrant body, the lightning energy around Mo Qingyun was tyrannically absorbed into his body. Once the lightning energy was absorbed into his body, it was rapidly compressed and condensed, forming a small lightning dragon. As soon as this small lightning dragon was formed, it formed a subtle connection with Mo Qingyun's flesh and blood. What a powerful origin of divine ability! Sensing the lightning dragon in his body, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. A look of anticipation appeared on his face as he thought to himself, "This origin of divine ability has just been condensed, but it already has such a terrifying power. If I cultivate the Wild Lightning Dragon Source Tyrant body to the limit, how powerful would I be?" With a strong sense of anticipation, Mo Qingyun crazily refined the surrounding lightning bolts day and night. Under Mo Qingyun's crazy refining, the surrounding lightning bolts decreased rapidly as he used them to strengthen his origin of divine ability. Just like this, Mo Qingyun crazily cultivated, and a month passed in the blink of an eye. After a month of crazy cultivation, Mo Qingyun had absorbed half of the lightning bolts above the rolling thunder devil sea. At this time, above the rolling thunder devil sea, a beautiful blue figure flew over. Strange, the lightning bolts above the rolling thunder devil sea seemed to be decreasing rapidly. When this blue figure arrived, her eyes swept over the surrounding lightning bolts, and a look of surprise appeared on her face. All this time, she had been using these lightning bolts to refine her body, so she was very clear about the amount of lightning bolt. Recently, she clearly felt that the lightning bolts above the rolling thunder devil sea were decreasing. What's going on? With a strong sense of confusion, the blue figure began to search around, looking for the reason why the lightning bolts were decreasing. About half a day later, the blue figure stopped and found the reason why the lightning bolts were decreasing. Someone is devouring the lightning bolts to cultivate. The blue figure saw that in the center of the lightning bolts, someone was crazily devouring and refining the lightning bolts, causing the number of lightning bolts to decrease rapidly. Seeing this, she flew toward the person devouring the lightning bolts with a shocked heart. However, she was soon completely stunned as she recognized the person devouring the lightning bolts. It's him! Seeing who the person devouring the lightning bolts was, the blue figure's face was full of shock. She couldn't accept this fact and exclaimed, "Mr. Mo, the person devouring the lightning bolts above the rolling thunder devil sea is actually Mr. Mo, that's right." This blue figure was Lan Kuei of the Purple Blood Dragon Clan. Lan Kuei's approach immediately attracted Mo Qingyun's attention, and he turned to look at her. "Miss Lan Kuei." When Mo Qingyun saw Lan Kuei, he also revealed a surprised expression as he recognized Lan Kuei. Thinking about how Lan Kuei had been using lightning to refine her body, but he had refined the lightning bolts, Mo Qingyun felt a little apologetic. It seemed a little wrong of him to do so. Chapter 22:20 Miss Lan Kuei, long time no see. Emo Qingyun greeted Lan Kuei with a bright smile when he arrived in front of her. Lan Kuei smiled sweetly when she saw Emo Qingyun in front of her. She said playfully, "Mr. Emo, I didn't think that we would meet again in this place. Yes, this should be a kind of fate." Hearing Lan Kuei's words, Emo Qingyun revealed a nostalgic expression and sighed with emotion. Emo Qingyun looked apologetic when he thought about how Lan Kuei wanted to use the lightning to temper her body. He said, "I didn't know that you wanted to use the lightning to temper your body. I swallowed almost half of the lightning here. It shouldn't affect your cultivation, right?" Lan Kuei looked at Emo Qingyun when he mentioned the lightning. She blinked cutely and said, "Do you think that everyone can be like you and swallow lightning to cultivate? You only need to leave a small area of lightning for me." Emo Qingyun smiled awkwardly. He was speechless. Lan Kuei sighed when she saw Emo Qingyun smile without saying anything. She said, "Back then, we used the lightning to temper our bodies. I didn't think that after so many years, you would be able to swallow lightning to cultivate while I'm still stuck at the same spot." At this moment, a strong sense of defeat grew in Lan Kuei's heart. Emo Qingyun smiled when he saw Lan Kuei's reaction. He changed the topic and said, "Miss Lan Kuei, after so many years, do we only talk about cultivation?" "No, no." Lan Kuei immediately shook her head when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. However, as soon as Lan Kuei's words left her mouth, her pretty face flushed red, revealing a bashful expression. Lan Kuei pretended to be unhappy. She glared at Emo Qingyun and said, "Mr. Emo, you're so mean. We just met and you're already bullying me." "I'm bullying you?" Emo Qingyun's face was blank. He didn't quite understand Lan Kuei's words. "Haha." Looking at Emo Qingyun's confused expression, Lan Kuei knew that she was overthinking things. She said in a slightly coquettish tone, "Let's go. Come with me to the clan to have a seat. Otherwise, you'll say that I didn't even entertain you when we met after so many years. Then I'll have to trouble you." Emo Qingyun didn't think too much about Lan Kuei's invitation and agreed without hesitation. "No, it would be best if you could continue to disturb me." In response to Emo Qingyun's courteous words, Lan Kuei instinctively responded with an indifferent expression. But as soon as Lan Kuei said those words, she realized that something was wrong, and her face turned red again. Her words sounded as if she wanted to stay with Emo Qingyun. "Miss Lan Kuei, how is the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan now? There shouldn't be any clan oppression, right?" On the way to the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan, Emo Qingyun and Lan Kuei chatted casually and asked about the situation of the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan. Lan Kuei's face sank when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. She seemed to have a lot on her mind. She said, "Back then, the 3 palaces and 1 hall suffered a great loss of strength and improved the situation of the various races, but it didn't last for very long." Emo Qingyun frowned. He could roughly guess the situation of the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan after hearing the hidden meaning in Lan Kuei's word. It seemed that the current situation of the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan wasn't particularly optimistic. A few years ago, many experts suddenly came to the Rolling Thunder Demon Sea and reunited the various clans of the Rolling Thunder Demon Sea. Thinking of the Rolling Thunder Devil Sea's current situation, Lan Kuei's expression was heavy. She briefly explained the situation and said, "Not long ago, Elder Brother Lan Quan offended the young master of the Bayan Blood Shark Palace. Since then, the Bayan Blood Shark Palace began to oppress my clan and put forward one excessive request after another." There was actually such a thing? Upon hearing Lan Kuei's words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed and surprise appeared on his face. At the same time that Emo Qingyun was surprised, he also felt a little fortunate that he had coincidentally encountered Lan Kuei this time. Otherwise, if Lan Kuei was harmed by the Bayan Blood Shark Palace's invasion, he would have a regret because of this. "Miss Lan Kuei, How is the strength of the Bai and Blood Shark Palace? Mo Qingyun thought in his heart. Since he had already encountered them, then he would help the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Lan Kuei's beautiful face tensed up, and she said in a deep voice, "It is said that the palace master of the Bai and Blood Shark Palace is an expert at the 7th level of the 9 Heavens Xian Immortal Realm. With the little strength of my clan, it is utterly insufficient before them." 7th level of the 9 Heavens Xian Immortal Realm? Mo Qingyun was stunned. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the strength of the Bai and Blood Shark Palace. He originally thought that the Bai and Blood Shark Palace would be extremely formidable, but in the end, it was only a 7th level 9 Heavens Xian Immortal Realm expert. But it made sense when he thought about it. The Ziqing Blood Dragon clan didn't even have a 9 Heavens Xian Immortal Realm expert, and this was indeed too strong for them. The strength of this Bai and Blood Shark Palace is much more formidable than the 3 palaces and 1 hall from before. Lan Kuei didn't know of Mo Qingyun's strength, so when she saw Mo Qingyun's reaction, she instinctively misunderstood Mo Qingyun's meaning. As far as she was concerned, Mo Qingyun's current reaction ought to be because he was surprised that the Bai and Blood Shark Palace was too strong. "Miss Lan Kuei, you don't have to worry. Just leave the Bai and Blood Shark Palace to me." Looking at the worried Lan Kuei, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at her and comforted her. However, when Lan Kuei heard Mo Qingyun's words, she immediately thought that Mo Qingyun was trying to show off, and she hurriedly said, "Mr. Mo, the Bai and Blood Shark Palace is too strong. It's best that you don't get involved in this matter, so as to avoid bringing a fatal disaster to you." "The Bai and Blood Shark Palace is too strong?" Mo Qingyun couldn't help but shake his head when he heard Lan Kuei, and he didn't know what to say. With the forces he controlled, the Bai and Blood Shark Palace was simply like an ant before him. However, Mo Qingyun didn't explain the misunderstanding in Lan Kuei's heart. As far as he was concerned, everything would naturally be clear once he made a move. When she saw Mo Qingyun remain silent, Lan Kuei's expression relaxed, and her heart that was in her throat relaxed. In her opinion, since Mo Qingyun didn't say anything, he should have listened to her advice and stopped caring about the Bai and Blood Shark Palace. Next, Mo Qingyun and Lan Kuei chatted as they walked and arrived at the territory of the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan. As soon as Mo Qingyun and Lan Kuei returned to the clan's land, they saw a group of overbearing people standing in the sky above the territory of the Ziqing Blood Dragon clan. Meng Pai. Seeing these people in the sky above the territory, Lan Kuei's pretty face immediately changed, and her expression became serious. After saying this shocking sentence, Lan Kuei showed an anxious expression and urged Mo Qingyun, "Mr. Mo, the people from the Bai and Blood Shark Palace are here. Hurry up and come back to the clan with me." Chapter 22-21. With Lan Kuei leading the way, Mo Qingyun came to a large hall and saw Lan Tianxiang and the others. Young Master Mo, why are you here?" Lan Tianxiang and the others were surprised to see Mo Qingyun. They had not expected Mo Qingyun to come so suddenly. "I was passing by and happened to meet Miss Lan Kuei, so I came to catch up with you." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly in response to Lan Tianxiang and the others' questions and chatted casually with them. As for Meng Pai and the others in the air, Mo Qingyun completely ignored them and treated them as if they did not exist at all. Mo Qingyun could ignore Meng Pai and the others, but Lan Tianxiang and the others could not do the same. After exchanging a few words with Mo Qingyun, Lan Tianxiang and the others turned their heads and looked at Meng Pai and the others in the air. Mo Qingyun did not care about the actions of Lan Tianxiang and the others. He could understand their current feelings. The Blood Dragon tribe was facing a big problem. It was extremely rare for Lan Tianxiang and the others to exchange a few words with him. Under the gaze of Lan Tianxiang and the others, Meng Pai and the others in the air slowly came before them. Lan Tianxiang, have you prepared the things we asked for? Arriving in front of Lan Tianxiang, Meng Pai coldly questioned Lan Tianxiang with an arrogant attitude. Under Meng Pai's questioning, Lan Tianxiang's body immediately trembled and his expression became tense. Then, he put on a pleading expression and pleaded with Meng Pai, "Young Palace Master Meng Pai, the amount of blood dragon skin you need is too large. You only gave us 5 days. This is simply impossible. Please give us more time." Blood dragon skin? Hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, Emo Qingyun frowned and a trace of confusion appeared on his face. Seeing Emo Qingyun's reaction, Lan Kuei pondered for a moment before explaining to Emo Qingyun, "When our clansmen take human form, they will remove the hide on their bodies. This is the blood dragon hide that Meng Pai spoke of. The blood dragon hide can be used to refine pills called the Scorching Sun Dragon Blood True Pill." So that's how it is. After listening to Lan Kuei's explanation, Emo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding. He understood Lan Tianxiang's difficulties. If it was something else, he could still hurry up and collect it. However, there was really nothing that could be done about the degenerated animal skins on his body. He could only accumulate them over the years. "Give me more time?" Meng Pai's face darkened when he heard Lan Tianxiang's words. He revealed a mocking expression and said, "Lan Tianxiang, I've already given you 5 days. If you can't do it, then don't blame me. Young Palace Master Meng Pai, please be magnanimous and give me more time, all right?" Lan Tianxiang revealed a bitter expression when he heard Meng Pai's words. He begged Meng Pai again, "Please give us 3 more months. Just give us 3 more months, and I'll definitely gather 10 million pieces of blood dragon hide." 10 million pieces of blood dragon hide. Emo Qingyun's eyes immediately widened when he heard Lan Tianxiang's words. He was startled by the number that Lan Tianxiang had mentioned. With Emo Qingyun's understanding of the Ziqing blood dragon clan, there were only a little over 100 million clansmen in total. However, Meng Pai wanted Lan Tianxiang to produce 10 million pieces of blood dragon hide in 5 days. This was impossible. Even if Lan Tianxiang was given 5 years, he still wouldn't be able to gather it, let alone 5 days. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Meng Pai was purposely making things difficult for Lan Tianxiang. Meng Pai immediately sneered at Lan Tianxiang's begging. He said impatiently, "Patriarch Lan Tianxiang, since you're unwilling to cooperate, we'll have to do it ourselves and help your clansmen shed their skins." Lan Tianxiang's expression immediately changed when he heard Meng Pai's words. He was so furious that he began to tremble. Forcefully shedding one's skin was even more painful than death. Meng Pai was just too vicious. What a beauty. I didn't think the Ziqing blood dragon clan would have such a beauty. As Meng Pai ordered his subordinates, he noticed Lan Kuei in the crowd and smiled evilly. Following which, Meng Pai revealed a mischievous smile. He raised his hand and rubbed his chin. "Patriarch Lan Tianxiang, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Let this beauty come back with me. The longer she serves me, the more time I will give you." Lan Tianxiang and the others' expressions changed drastically when they heard Meng Pai's words. They all looked at Lan Kuei. Seeing that everyone was looking at her, Lan Kuei's pretty face immediately turned pale, and her eyes flashed with despair. She knew very well what would happen to her if she fell into Meng Pai's hands. In desperation and helplessness, Lan Kuei instinctively looked at Emo Qingyun. Her eyes flickered and were filled with grievance. Emo Qingyun couldn't bear to see Lan Kuei's expression. He stroked her hair and said, "Don't worry. With me here, he can't do anything to you." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei's pretty face immediately tensed up. She put on a determined expression and said, "Thank you, young Master Emo. This is a matter of the Ziqing blood dragon clan. There's no need for you to get involved and bring death upon yourself." Lan Kuei's expression became resolute. She was going to sacrifice herself for the Ziqing blood dragon clan. Emo Qingyun immediately stopped Lan Kuei. He shook his head at her and said, "Don't worry. It's just a small and blood shark palace. I don't care about it." "Humph! What an arrogant brat. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue?" Emo Qingyun didn't hide his words. Meng Pai heard him as soon as he spoke. Meng Pai said angrily, "I'd like to see what ability you have to interfere in my and blood shark palace's business." The faces of the people from the and blood shark palace darkened when they heard Meng Pai's angry words. They all glared at Emo Qingyun. Lan Tianxiang and the others looked at each other when they saw the reaction of the people from the and blood shark palace. They didn't know what to do. With their cultivation bases, it was impossible for them to resolve the situation before them. "Do it. Take that brat down. I want him alive." Meng Pai coldly glared at Emo Qingyun before he angrily ordered his subordinates behind him. The people from the and blood shark palace surrounded Emo Qingyun when they heard Meng Pai's order. "Stop!" Lan Kuei immediately shouted when she saw the actions of the people from the and blood shark palace. She came to Emo Qingyun and said, "Meng Pai, I'll go back with you. Don't make things difficult for others." "Humph! This brat dares to talk back to me. No one can save him today." Meng Pai directly refused Lan Kuei's request. He said coldly, "Today, not only will this brat die, but you will also go back with me. I also want the dragon's skin of 10 million words." Lan Tianxiang and the others were shocked when they saw Meng Pai's attitude. Their expressions darkened. Chapter 22-22. I'm sorry, but you won't be able to take anything away. Emo Qingyun shook his head at the arrogant Meng Pai and said coldly, "Also, I'll tell you clearly that no matter who comes here today, they won't be able to save your life." Emo Qingyun spoke ruthlessly, and then he turned to look at Lan Kuei and said, "Miss Lan Kuei, stand aside for now. Leave this to me. It's useless to make compromises when dealing with people like them." "Okay." Lan Kuei hesitated for a moment when she heard Emo Qingyun's words, but she still obeyed Emo Qingyun's instructions. Then, Lan Kuei walked to the back and stood beside Lan Tianxiang and the others. Lan Tianxiang looked nervous when he saw Lan Kuei come to his side. He asked, "Lan Kuei, does Mr. Emo really have a way to contend with the and blood shark palace?" Lan Tianxiang didn't think that Emo Qingyun could really contend with the and blood shark palace, given its powerful strength. However, when Emo Qingyun was in the golden immortal stage, he had destroyed the 3 palaces and 1 hall that were countless times stronger than him. This made Lan Tianxiang have some expectations for Emo Qingyun. He hoped that a miracle could happen again. "I don't know either." Lan Kuei shook her head blankly at Lan Tianxiang's question. She looked expectant as she said, "Since Mr. Emo said so, he must have something to rely on. I hope he can defeat Meng Pai and the others. Which one of you will come and die first?" Under everyone's gazes, Emo Qingyun asked Meng Pai and the others with a cold expression. Meng Pai and the others were furious when they saw Emo Qingyun's attitude. Emo Qingyun was too arrogant. "Kid, you're asking for it. You can't blame anyone else." Meng Pai's face darkened when he saw Emo Qingyun's actions. He said angrily, "Zhang Quan, Ma Qin, you two go and capture this kid." "Yes." 2 men with long antennae walked slowly toward Emo Qingyun when they heard Meng Pai's order. They were both at the early 2nd level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal stage. They were even stronger than King Devourer. In the eyes of Lan Tianxiang and the others, such existences were indeed unrivaled. "Kid, remember to clean your eyes when you're reincarnated." Zhang Quan and Ma Qin walked toward Emo Qingyun and sneered at Emo Qingyun. As soon as Zhang Quan finished speaking, they took out their weapons and slashed at Emo Qingyun one after another. A saber light that could split the heavens and earth, and a sword light that could move mountains and overturn seas blasted towards Emo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. "You're not weak, but your power too weak. Zhang Quanti to be to say to kill to die." T to make sure it TT to kill TS to block. Boom. The gigantic palm collided with the saber ray and the sword shadow, and immediately, a loud sound was heard. They were instantly defeated. The giant palm smashed the saber light and the sword shadow, and with the force of a thunderbolt, it sent Zhang Quan and his companion flying. After sending Zhang Quan and his companion flying, Mo Qingyun said with a disinterested expression, "It seems that you didn't clean your eyes when you were reincarnated." Seeing this scene, not only were Meng Pai and the others stunned, even Lan Kuei and the others were stunned. Even the powerful Zhang Quan duo had been crippled by a single palm strike from Mo Qingyun. Mr. Mo is so strong. The strength he's displaying now is comparable to a third level 9 Heavens Xian immortal. I didn't expect Mo Qingyun's strength to have grown to such a level in just over 10 years. No wonder he didn't fall into a disadvantageous position when he fought against the 3 palaces and 1 hall when he was only a golden immortal. Lan Tianxiang and the others revealed delighted expressions when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance, and they became excited. Compared to the excitement of Lan Tianxiang and the others, Lan Kuei's beautiful face was filled with shock, and she said, "So his strength has already reached such a level. No wonder he can devour lightning to temper his body." At this moment, the doubts in Lan Kuei's heart seemed to have been resolved. He crippled Zhang Quan and his companion with a single palm strike. This kid isn't an ordinary person. Meng Pai immediately revealed a shocked expression when he saw the strength Mo Qingyun displayed, and he withdrew the contempt he had for Mo Qingyun. After that, Meng Pai walked out from the crowd with a wisp of a cold smile on the corners of his mouth, and he said, "Kid, I underestimated you. Looks like I have to deal with you personally." As soon as Meng Pai finished speaking, he released an imposing aura that crushed down towards Mo Qingyun. 4th level 9 Heavens Xian immortal, young palace master's cultivation has broken through. Congratulations, young palace master, your cultivation has advanced a step further. Young palace master, we'll use this kid's blood to celebrate your breakthrough today. When they sensed Meng Pai's imposing aura, his followers were shocked, and they hurriedly flattered him. The smile on Meng Pai's face immediately became wider when he heard the words of the people behind him, and he said, "Kid, since I broke through to the 4th level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm, you're the first person I want to kill. Since you're able to have such an honor, you should feel honored even in death. Have you finished speaking your last words?" Mo Qingyun revealed an impatient expression as he looked at Meng Pai, and he asked, "If you've finished speaking your last words, then I'll be sending you on your way." Humph! Meng Pai immediately grunted coldly when he saw Mo Qingyun's attitude, and his expression became savage. After that, Meng Pai withdrew a saber that emitted a strand of weak saint might. The surrounding people were shocked when they saw the saber in Meng Pai's hand, and they revealed gazes of reverence. That's a quasi-saint artifact. Meng Pai actually possesses such a treasure. With a quasi-saint artifact, Meng Pai's strength is practically comparable to the 5th level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm. Mr. Mo's situation isn't good. I wonder if he can resist. What I'm worried about now is that even if Mo Qingyun defeats Meng Pai, can he defeat Meng Rao? Alas! Let's take it one step at a time. We already have no other choice. The expressions of Lan Tianxiang and the others became tense when they saw the saber in Meng Pai's hand, and they couldn't help but worry for Mo Qingyun. Meng Pai revealed a complacent smile after he withdrew the quasi-saint artifact, and he said, "Kid, to be able to die under a quasi-saint artifact, you probably never dreamed that you would have such an honor. It's only a quasi-saint artifact." Mo Qingyun immediately sneered when he heard Meng Pai, and then he waved his hand casually and said, "Since you think it's an honor, then I'll grant you an even greater honor and let you die under a quasi-saint artifact." As Mo Qingyun waved his hand casually, waves of powerful saint might emanated from his surroundings. Then, everyone saw quasi-saint artifacts floating around Mo Qingyun. Chapter 22-23. Saint Weapons. They're all saint weapons. Young Master Mo actually has over a dozen saint artifacts in his hands. That's simply too ferocious. My God, what did I just see? Did he empty the treasury of the heavenly soul demons? Young Master Mo is indeed different. His first move is indeed extraordinary. Seeing the saint weapons beside Mo Qingyun, Lan Tianxiang and the others were shocked. Their eyes became fanatical. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Lan Kuei was stunned. She felt that Mo Qingyun had become a stranger. Was this still the Mo Qingyun she knew? Could a person in the golden, immortal realm really grow to this level in just a dozen years? Saint weapons. Are these all saint weapons? Where did this kid come from? Why does he have so many saint weapons with him? As the saying goes, don't show off your wealth. This kid is looking for death by being so ostentatious. When the people of Bayan Blood Shark Palace saw Mo Qingyun take out the saint weapons, they all showed greedy expressions. Then, without hesitation, they immediately flew toward Meng Pai and said, "Young Palace Master, this kid is not simple. We'll help you and fight him together." Okay. Seeing Mo Qingyun take out more than a dozen saint weapons, Meng Pai's expression became serious. He knew that Mo Qingyun was not easy to deal with. Therefore, he agreed to his subordinate's request without hesitation. It's good to attack together. It'll save me the trouble of killing them one by one. Looking at Meng Pai and the others rushing toward him, Mo Qingyun did not care at all. He waved his hand at them. As Mo Qingyun waved his hand, the dozen saint weapons beside him immediately blasted toward Meng Pai and the others. Bang! 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 The dozen saint weapons turned into streaks of light and blasted toward Meng Pai and the others. They were all sent flying by the overbearing force. After being blasted by the saint weapons, Meng Pai and the others all spat out blood. Their auras were quickly weakened. Soon, the life aura of Meng Pai and the others completely disappeared. One move, just a casual wave of his hand, and Meng Pai and the others were killed. Seeing this scene, Lan Tianxiang and the rest were dumbfounded. They felt their minds go blank. They had never seen such a scene and such terrifying strength. So strong. Mr. Mo is so strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Lan Kuei's pretty face was filled with shock. She could not help but exclaim. Lan Kuei's face reddened as she realized that something was wrong. Fortunately, Mo Qingyun's astonishing performance stunned Lan Tianxiang and the others. Therefore, Lan Tianxiang and the others did not take her words to heart. Mr. Mo easily killed Meng Pai and the others. His cultivation is probably at the 5th level of the 9 Heavens Xian immortal realm. In just over 10 years, his cultivation base has broken through from the golden immortal stage to the 5th level of the 9 Heavens profound stage. Isn't that too fast? Compared to Mr. Mo, my cultivation speed is slower than a snail's. It'd be great if I could have the speed of a snail. I feel that my cultivation base is regressing. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Lan Tianxiang and the others were deeply moved. They had suffered a strong blow. After killing Meng Pai and the others, Mo Qingyun waved his arm and took back the saint artifacts. Patriarch Lan Tianxiang, I've messed up your place. I'll have to trouble you to order people to clean it up. After dealing with Meng Pai and the others, Mo Qingyun walked towards Lan Tianxiang and the others and greeted them politely. It's just a small matter. Don't worry about it. I'll order people to clean this place up. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang immediately laughed embarrassedly. He hurriedly waved his hand at Mo Qingyun and said, "Mr. Mo, please come to the inner hall. I'll get people to prepare a banquet to welcome you." "Thank you for your hospitality." In response to Lan Tianxiang's actions, Mo Qingyun nodded politely and followed him to the main hall. On the way to the main hall, Lan Kuei had a curious expression. She quickly walked to Emo Qingyun's side and asked, "Mr. Emo, you were able to easily kill Meng Pai and the others. What's your cultivation base now?" "I just broke through to the 6th level of the 9 Heavens Profound Immortal Realm not long ago." In response to Lan Kuei's question, Emo Qingyun casually replied and spoke of his current cultivation base. Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's words, everyone stopped in their tracks and stared at him with wide eyes. They really didn't expect that Emo Qingyun's current cultivation base had actually reached the 6th level of the 9 Heavens Profound Immortal Realm. Earlier, they guessed that Emo Qingyun might be at the 5th level of the 9 Heavens Profound Immortal Realm, but they actually underestimated Emo Qingyun's potential. After a brief moment of shock, Lan Tianxiang and the others fell silent. This was too much of a blow. At the same time that they were shocked in their hearts, Lan Tianxiang and the others were pleasantly surprised. With Emo Qingyun's cultivation base at the 6th level of the 9 Heavens Profound Immortal Realm and coupled with his numerous saint artifacts, perhaps he could fight against the Bayan Bloodshark Palace. With such thoughts in mind, Lan Tianxiang and the others' attitude towards Emo Qingyun immediately became even more respectful. It couldn't be helped. With Emo Qingyun's identity and strength, they had no choice but to do so. Most importantly, they still wanted Emo Qingyun to help them deal with the danger before them. "Mr. Emo, you said many years ago that you wanted to head to the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan. I wonder if you've been there?" Seated at the front of the main hall, Lan Tianxiang revealed a curious expression and asked about Emo Qingyun's experiences. Hearing Lan Tianxiang's question, Emo Qingyun nodded at him and said, "Over 10 years ago, I went to the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan. This time, I left the Heavenly Soul Devil Clan mainly to establish a sect." "Establish a sect?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang's expression immediately trembled and he was shocked. He asked curiously, "Mr. Emo, you want to establish a sect? I wonder where this sect will be located?" "It should be in the immortal desolate domain." Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and revealed the location of his sect without the slightest hesitation. In his opinion, he couldn't hide the fact that he wanted to establish a sect at all. If that was the case, there was nothing wrong with telling Lan Tianxiang and the others now. The immortal desolate domain. That's a bit far. After learning about the location of the sect, Lan Tianxiang revealed a regretful expression and appeared to be somewhat disappointed. After a short moment of silence, Lan Tianxiang's eyes turned and he said, "Mr. Emo, my clan has some talented juniors. I wonder if they can become your disciples?" Hearing Lan Tianxiang's request, Emo Qingyun revealed a hesitant expression. After pondering for a moment, he said, "Clan leader Lan Tianxiang, to tell you the truth, I'm already at odds with the Dark Demon Clan. If I establish a sect, it'll be equivalent to fighting them head-on. If they find out that your clan members have joined my sect, it'll be a devastating crisis for your clan." Fighting the Dark Demon Clan head-on? Hearing Emo Qingyun's explanation, Lan Tianxiang's expression immediately changed. He understood what Emo Qingyun meant. Chapter 22-24. After the banquet, Emo Qingyun was led by Lan Kuei to a quiet courtyard to rest. After Emo Qingyun left the main hall, the expressions of Lan Tianxiang and the rest tensed up, appearing as if they had a lot on their minds. "Clan leader, now that Mr. Emo killed Meng Pai, what if he doesn't do anything about it?" "Yeah, if Mr. Emo doesn't do anything about it, we're dead meat. From what I know about Mr. Emo, he's not that kind of person. He won't do anything about it. This is no small matter. We can't let our guard down. We have to think of a foolproof plan. I see that Lan Kuei and Mr. Emo have a good relationship. We have to get Lan Kuei to help. If Lan Kuei and Mr. Emo can get together, it'll be great. Our clan will definitely become stronger. The elders in the main hall became more and more excited as they talked. They were all thinking about how to scheme against Mo Qingyun. Lan Tianxiang frowned when he saw everyone's reaction. A hint of disappointment flashed in his eyes. From their reactions, he could tell that they had all gone astray and were playing with their own little trick. That's all for now. I'll ask Lan Kuei what she thinks later. Lan Tianxiang was silent for a while before he responded to everyone. He said sternly, Mr. Mo's identity is not ordinary. We're asking him for help now. I hope that you'll stop playing with your own little tricks. Otherwise, you'll end up getting burned by playing with fire. Hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, everyone's expressions immediately tensed up. They realized their mistake. Lan Tianxiang was right. With their identities, scheming against Mo Qingyun was tantamount to suicide. Alright, I'll go find Lan Kuei now and ask her what she thinks. After instructing everyone, Lan Tianxiang didn't stay any longer and immediately left the hall. After Lan Tianxiang left the main hall, he went directly to Lan Kuei's residence and told her what everyone thought. Father, why are you here? Seeing Lan Tianxiang's sudden arrival, Lan Kuei revealed a surprised expression and asked with a puzzled expression. Upon hearing Lan Kuei's words, Lan Tianxiang looked troubled. He pondered for a moment and said, Lan Kuei, you should have seen the current situation of our clan. The only person who can help us now is Mr. Mo. Lan Kuei nodded. She couldn't deny Lan Tianxiang's words. Now that Mr. Mo has killed Meng Pai, our situation has worsened. Thinking of the current situation of the Blood Dragon clan, Lan Tianxiang's expression became even more serious. A pleading expression appeared on his face. The elders want you to use your beauty to make Mr. Mo stay in the clan forever. This, hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, Lan Kuei's pretty face immediately turned red, revealing a shy posture. This request was really too embarrassing. Seeing Lan Kuei's reaction, Lan Tianxiang immediately revealed a troubled expression. He said, If you think it's too difficult, just pretend I didn't say anything. I'll deal with the elders. After Lan Tianxiang finished speaking, he turned and left, leaving a confused Lan Kuei behind. Do I have to do this? Lan Kuei's heart was filled with hesitation. Although she had feelings for Mo Qingyun, it didn't mean that she had decided to give herself to him. More importantly, she felt that if she used this opportunity to make Mo Qingyun stay and protect the Blood Dragon clan, it would be no different from plotting against Mo Qingyun. If she did this, her relationship with Mo Qingyun would unknowingly change. Sigh. After serious consideration, Lan Kuei sighed and made a difficult decision in her heart. At night, outside Mo Qingyun's small courtyard, a beautiful figure slowly walked over. The beautiful figure pushed open the courtyard door and walked to Mo Qingyun's house. She shouted, Mr. Mo, may I come in? Miss Lan Kuei, please come in. When he heard the voice outside, Mo Qingyun immediately opened the door and let Lan Kuei in. As soon as Lan Kuei entered the room, a faint fragrance wafted from her body. When he asked about the fragrance on Lan Kuei's body, Mo Qingyun's expression instinctively changed and he couldn't help but take a few more glances at her. At this moment, Lan Kuei had obviously put in a lot of effort to make herself look gentle and beautiful. It was impossible for a normal man not to be moved by Lan Kuei's current appearance. Miss Lan Kuei, may I know why you've come to see me? After sizing up Lan Kuei a few times, Mo Qingyun calmed himself down and asked Lan Kuei about her intentions. When she heard Mo Qingyun's question, Lan Kuei's pretty face flushed slightly. She looked very shy as she said, Mr. Mo, Meng Xiang, the palace master of the Bayan Blood Shark Palace, will definitely not let Meng Pai's death go. I'm worried that. Don't worry. With me here, he won't be able to do anything. In response to Lan Kuei's worries, Mo Qingyun immediately comforted her and gave her a reassuring smile. When she saw Mo Qingyun's actions, Lan Kuei frowned slightly. She knew that Mo Qingyun had misunderstood her. She wanted to say that if Mo Qingyun left the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, who would protect them in the future? Lan Kuei was a little anxious when she saw that Mo Qingyun had misunderstood her. She hurriedly said, "Mr. Mo, I know that it might be a little difficult for you to stay, but if you're willing to stay, I'll serve you wholeheartedly from now on." As soon as Lan Kuei finished speaking, she began to gently undress, revealing her snow-white skin. "Miss Lan Kuei, please don't do this." When he saw Lan Kuei's actions, Mo Qingyun immediately stopped her. He helped her put on her clothes and said, "Don't worry. Since I've already said that I won't let the Bai and Blood Shark Palace harm your clan, I'll naturally get rid of this hidden danger. You don't have to worry about it." "Mr. Mo, thank you." When she heard Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei's face was filled with gratitude. The corners of her eyes became moist. When he saw Lan Kuei's aggrieved expression, Mo Qingyun wiped away her tears and said gently, "Sometimes you have to be selfish. Don't always think about sacrificing yourself. Don't do such foolish things in the future." "Okay." When she heard Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei was once again touched. The fluorescence in the corners of her eyes became even brighter. After persuading Lan Kuei, Mo Qingyun waved at her and said, "It's getting late. Go back and rest." "Okay." When she heard Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei didn't stay any longer. She turned and walked out of the room. When Lan Kuei walked out of the room, she stopped and turned to Mo Qingyun. She said playfully, "Mr. Mo, if I told you that I was willing to offer my body because I like you, would you accept me?" When he heard Lan Kuei's words, Mo Qingyun was stunned. He didn't expect her to say this. When she saw Mo Qingyun's reaction, Lan Kuei immediately smiled sweetly. She made a funny face at Mo Qingyun and stuck out her tongue. "I'm just teasing you, big fool." When Lan Kuei finished speaking, she quickly walked away, not waiting for Mo Qingyun to respond. After leaving Mo Qingyun's residence, Lan Kuei's eyes began to glow. She understood Mo Qingyun's feelings for her. Chapter 22-25. Sigh. As Mo Qingyun watched Lan Kuei gradually walk away, he couldn't help but sigh emotionally. Although Lan Kuei was a good girl, it would be difficult for him and Lan Kuei to cross paths again. After calming himself down, Mo Qingyun abandoned the distracting thoughts in his mind and summoned Quebec. He said, "I'm going to cultivate in the thunderbolts above the rolling thunder devil sea. Guard the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe for me. If anyone comes to attack, send me a soul message immediately." "Yes, master." After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, ZK immediately nodded in response. He would guard the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe for Mo Qingyun. After giving ZK some instructions, Mo Qingyun's figure moved and left the small courtyard. It was only a coincidence that he had met Lan Kuei. He could not stay here for long. His main purpose of coming here was to refine thunderbolts and cultivate the wild lightning dragon source overlord body. As for helping the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe and solving the problem of the Bai and Blood Shark Palace, it was just a matter of convenience. In the Bai and Blood Shark Palace, corpses with hideous wounds were carried here and placed in front of everyone. Looking at the bodies in front of him, Meng Xiang, the palace master of the Bai and Blood Shark Palace, said angrily, "What's going on? Who killed my son?" "Palace master, according to the report from our subordinates, it seems to be the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe." Under Meng Xiang's questioning, one of the old men in the hall nervously answered. Meng Xiang's face darkened when he heard the old man's words. He said furiously, "How dare they try to kill my son? I'll wipe out the entire purple-eyed blood dragon clan and bury them all with my son." At this moment, when Meng Xiang was angry, a middle-aged scholar frowned and said in surprise, "As far as I know, there is no one in the Nine Heavens' mysterious immortal realm in the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. With their strength, they can't kill the young palace master, right?" Meng Xiang and the others were shocked when they heard the scholar's words. They realized that it did not make sense. In this case, the one who killed Meng Pai should be someone else. While Meng Xiang and the others were lost in thought, the old man standing in the middle of the hall said solemnly, "Today, a young man called Mo Qinyun returned to the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe with Lan Kuei. I suspect that he might have been the one behind this." Mo Qinyun? Why does this name sound familiar? When the old man mentioned Mo Qinyun, Meng Xiang revealed a look of surprise. He quickly tried to recall. Seeing Meng Xiang's thoughtful expression, the middle-aged scholar's eyes lit up as he recalled Mo Qinyun and said, "Palace Master, this Mo Qinyun has some background. He is a genius junior of the heavenly soul demon race. About 10 years ago, he set off a storm in the rolling Thunder Devil Sea and destroyed the 3 palaces and 1 hall. So, he's quite capable." After listening to the scholar's explanation, Meng Xiang's eyes flashed and he exuded a murderous aura. He said, "So he's really suspicious. It doesn't matter if he did it or not. Since he's here in the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, he'll die with my son." "That's right. We can't let that boy off so easily. He'll be buried with the young palace master." "Palace master, let's go to the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe immediately to prevent that boy from escaping." "That boy won't be able to escape. I think the most important thing now is to welcome the young lord from the Holy Brilliance Serpent Hall. That boy was invited by Lan Kuei. He must have a close relationship with the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. We just have to keep an eye on Lan Tianxiang and the others." Everyone in the hall had different opinions when they saw Meng Xiang's attitude. They all made suggestions to Meng Xiang. Meng Xiang frowned when he heard what the people in the hall were saying. He pondered for a moment before saying, "Ignore the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe for now. None of them will be able to escape. Let's prepare to receive the young master of the Holy Brilliance Sky Dragon Hall." Yes. Everyone in the hall nodded when they heard Meng Xiang's instructions. They immediately went to arrange Meng Xiang's instructions. The young lord from the Holy Brilliance Serpent Hall was a sage-to-be. They couldn't afford to neglect him. More importantly, the palace master of the Holy Brilliance Serpent Hall was a sage-to-be. As such, they couldn't afford to neglect the young lord from the Holy Brilliance Serpent Hall, Chai Wei. Half a day later, Meng Xiang and the others welcomed the young lord from the Holy Brilliance Serpent Hall, Chai Wei, with the other powerhouses from the Holy Brilliance Serpent Hall. There was a beautiful girl beside Chai Wei. She was chatting and laughing with Chai Wei along the way. Upon closer inspection, one could see that the girl's appearance was similar to Meng Xiang's. Daughter pays her respects to father. When the woman arrived in front of Meng Xiang, she smiled sweetly and bowed respectfully to him. When the woman bowed, Chai Wei also cupped his hands towards Meng Xiang in a humble manner and said, "This son-in-law, Chai Wei, pays his respects to father-in-law. Young palace master Chai Wei, there's no need to be so courteous." Meng Xiang didn't dare to be careless with Chai Wei's actions. He quickly waved his hand at Chai Wei. The two of them chatted with Meng Xiang for a while. Meng Xiang's daughter, Meng Li, was surprised and said, "Why didn't little Pai come out? Didn't he always say that he wanted to see Brother Wei? Now that Brother Wei is here, why didn't he show up?" Meng Xiang's face darkened when he heard Meng Li's complaint. He said with grief and indignation, "Little Pai, he was killed." What? Little Pai ordered someone to kill him? Meng Li's body trembled when she heard Meng Xiang's words. Her face turned pale. The impact of this news was too great for her to accept for a moment. Chai Wei's face darkened when he heard the conversation between Meng Xiang and Meng Li. He said angrily, "Humph! He even dares to touch my, Chai Wei's, brother-in-law. How bold of him! I will definitely make him beg for death." After Chai Wei said those words angrily, he comforted Meng Li and Meng Li, saying, Father-in-law, don't worry. This person who killed Meng Pai, I will definitely kill him and his entire family, and let them all be buried with Meng Pai." We've troubled young Hall Master Chai Wei. Meng Xiang was grateful when he heard Chai Wei's words. He quickly thanked Chai Wei. After thanking Chai Wei, Meng Xiang did not dare to delay. He waved his hand at Chai Wei and said, "Junior Hall Master Chai Wei, I have already ordered someone to prepare a banquet. Please come in and have a chat." "All right." Chai Wei didn't refuse Meng Xiang's invitation. He nodded and walked into the hall. Chai Wei was curious when everyone walked into the hall. He asked, "Father-in-law, have you found out who killed Meng Pai?" "We have." Chapter 22-26. Father-in-law, don't worry. As long as he's still in the rolling thunder devil sea, he won't be able to escape from me. Chai Wei had a cold smile on her face as she comforted Meng Xiang. Then she stood up and bowed. "This little son-in-law came in a hurry and didn't prepare any gift. I'll kill that brat for you as a greeting gift." "Young Hall Master Chai Wei, you're too polite." Meng Xiang was delighted to hear Chai Wei's words. He quickly raised his cup and said, "Thank you for your kindness, young Hall Master Chai Wei. Let me give you a toast first." In Meng Xiang's opinion, everything would be foolproof if Chai Wei took action. "Father-in-law, you're exaggerating. It should be your son-in-law toasting you." Chai Wei immediately stood up and showed a humble attitude towards Meng Xiang's toast. After discussing Meng Pai's matter, everyone began to change the topic and talk about other things. Very quickly, a few hours passed and the banquet ended. "Father-in-law, let's go to the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe now to prevent that brat from escaping." Chai Wei stood up and suggested to Meng Xiang when he saw that the banquet had ended. Meng Xiang's eyes lit up when he heard Chai Wei's words. He quickly nodded at Chai Wei and said, "In that case, I'll gather my men and head to the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe together. We'll deal with Mo Qingyun and destroy the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe at the same time." Meng Xiang immediately gathered his men and headed to the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe together. In the Holy Brilliance Divine Dragon Hall, a tall middle-aged man walked out of a cultivation room. He was the hall master of the Holy Brilliance Divine Dragon Hall, Chai Chiu. "Welcome back, Hall Master. Your cultivation has improved." Everyone who was waiting outside the cultivation room immediately bowed respectfully to Chai Chiu when they saw him walking out of the cultivation room. In response to everyone's actions, Chai Ben nodded indifferently and asked, "Has anything happened in the palace recently? Has the young Hall Master stirred up trouble?" "Hall Master, everything has been fine in the hall recently." However, the young Hall Master, an elder in a red robe, gave a simple reply and then paused. When he saw the red-robed old man's hesitant expression, the corners of Chai Ben's eyes immediately narrowed. His expression became cold and indifferent as he said, "Speak, what trouble did that stinking brat cause this time? Where is he now?" Under Chai Chang's questioning, the red-robed old man immediately responded and truthfully said, replying to the hall master, "Not long ago, Elder Shadow sent a message saying that the young hall master is taking the people of Bayan Blood Shark Palace to avenge the young hall master of Bayan Blood Shark Palace by dealing with a kid named Mo Qingyun." Mo Qingyun. Hearing the old man's words, Chai Zhao's legs immediately went soft and he was almost scared to death. Who was Mo Qingyun? He couldn't be more clear. Back then, outside the mausoleum of the Inheritance Continent, he was a terrifying existence that could hold back 10,000 men. Chai Wei wanted to deal with Mo Qingyun with her quasi-sage realm cultivation. She was clearly courting death. "That bastard, he's going to piss me off." After knowing Chai Wei's actions, Chai Zhao didn't dare to delay at all. He immediately walked out of the Holy Brilliance Serpent Palace and said, "I'm going to the purple-eyed blood dragon clan. You'll be in charge of everything in the palace for the time being." "Yes." The red-robed old man nodded. After instructing the red-robed old man, Chai Zhao directly left and rushed to the purple-eyed blood dragon clan without stopping. "I hope I can make it in time." That bastard could have provoked anyone, but he actually went to provoke Mo Qingyun, that jinx. Although Chai Zhao didn't dare to guarantee that Mo Qingyun of the purple-eyed blood dragon clan was the one he was afraid of, he didn't dare to take the risk. However, he didn't dare to take the risk because the price was too high. Mo Qingyun knew nothing about the actions of Chai Zhao and the others. He was now wholeheartedly cultivating. Just like that, a day passed quickly. At this moment, waves of powerful aura descended on the purple-eyed blood dragon clan. Some ants in the 9 heavens' mysterious immortal realm actually dare to cause trouble here. They must be tired of living. Sensing the fluctuations of the aura, ZK, who was guarding the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, immediately sensed their cultivation base. Then ZK sneered. He felt that these people were overestimating themselves. Although ZK discovered Chai Wei and the others, he didn't make a move. Instead, he sent a voice transmission to Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun must have some plans for him to not make a move. They're already here? After receiving ZK's voice transmission, Mo Qingyun slowly opened his eyes and withdrew from his cultivation. Then, he moved and rushed back to the purple-eyed blood dragon clan. Mo Qingyun's body flashed a few times and returned to the purple-eyed blood dragon clan. He appeared beside Z Quebec. "All right, leave this place to me." When Mo Qingyun returned to the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, he gave ZK some instructions and sent him to the Fortune mainland. When ZK was sent to the Fortune mainland, Lan Tianxiang and the others hurried over and said in a panic, "Mr. Mo, the Bayan Blood Shark Palace's people are here. What should we do now? Follow me and take a look." Mo Qingyun didn't say much to Lan Tianxiang and the others' questions. He directly walked out of the courtyard. Then, Lan Tianxiang and the others followed Mo Qingyun and arrived in front of Chai Wei and the others. 6th Heaven Mysterious Immortal Realm. Mo Qingyun's appearance immediately attracted the attention of Meng Xiang and the others. They sensed his cultivation base. After discovering Mo Qingyun's cultivation base, Meng Xiang's guess was immediately answered. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation base at the 6th heaven of the 9 heavens' mysterious immortal realm, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill Meng Pai and the others. From the looks of it, the deaths of Meng Pai and the others should have been done by Mo Qingyun. "You're Mo Qingyun, the murderer of my son?" Meng Xiang's face was as black as ink as he looked at Mo Qingyun. He emitted a strong killing intent. Mo Qingyun ignored Meng Xiang's angry question. He looked at Chai Wei and the others in surprise and said, "The Bayan Blood Shark Palace's strength seems to be much stronger than the rumors say. There are actually a few 8th and 9th Heaven Mysterious Immortal Realm experts and a Quasi-Sage Realm expert. A few 8th and 9th Heaven Mysterious Immortal Realm experts and a Quasi-Sage Realm expert?" When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang and the others' faces turned pale. Facing so many powerful existences, even if Mo Qingyun had many saint artifacts, he wouldn't be able to resist. This time, the purple-eyed blood dragon clan was really doomed. "You're really a bumpkin. You don't even know young Hall Master Chai Wei." Meng Xiang's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He mocked Mo Qingyun and said, "This is Chai Wei, the young Hall Master of the Holy Brilliance Heavenly WRM Palace, one of the 3 major powers in the Rolling Lightning Devil Sea. It's your life's greatest honor to have him send you on your way." "The young Lord of the Holy Brilliance Heavenly WRM Palace?" Meng Xiang and the others' hearts trembled when they learned of Chai Wei's identity. Their faces turned even paler. Chapter 22-27. After Meng Xiang's flattery, an arrogant look appeared on Chai Wei's face. Chai Wei raised her head and sneered at Mo Qingyun. "Brat, if it weren't for Meng Pai's death, you wouldn't even be qualified to see me with your status. You should go thank Meng Pai for dying at my hands today." After Chai Wei finished speaking, he walked out of the crowd and was about to kill Mo Qingyun. "Stop!" Just as Chai Wei was about to make his move, a figure flew over rapidly. Chai Wei and the others were shocked when they heard the person's shout. They all looked at the figure. In their opinion, the person who had suddenly appeared should be Mo Qingyun's helper. Father! When Chai Wei saw the figure clearly, she recognized the other party, and her face was filled with surprise. He had never expected that Chai Meng would suddenly appear here. This was too unexpected. Father! He is the Holy Brilliant Sky Serpent Hall Master, Chai Meng. A saint stage expert. After knowing Chai Meng's identity, everyone was shocked and stood rooted to the ground. After knowing Chai Meng's identity, Lan Tianxiang and the others became even more depressed. Since Chai Meng was the Holy Brilliant Sky Serpent Hall Master, he was naturally Chai Wei and the others' helper. Their situation was even worse. Greetings, Palace Master Chai Meng. Meng Xiang and the others bowed respectfully when they saw Chai Meng in front of them. When everyone bowed to Chai Meng, Chai Wei was pleasantly surprised. He quickly walked over to Chai Meng and asked, "Father, why are you here?" Smack! As soon as Chai Wei finished speaking, Chai Meng slapped him and sent him flying. He said angrily, "Bastard! You haven't even grown your wings yet, but you're already thinking of using your power to bully others. I think you're tired of living." Everyone was stunned. The scene in front of them left them dumbfounded. What was going on? Wasn't Chai Meng here to help Chai Wei deal with Mo Qingyun? Father, after being slapped by Chai Zhao, Chai Wei immediately revealed an aggrieved expression and wanted to defend herself. Without waiting for Chai Wei to speak, Chai Dan interrupted her again. With an impatient attitude, he urged, "Stop talking nonsense. Get over here immediately and kowtow to young Master Mo to admit your mistake. Beg him to be magnanimous and forgive you this time." When Chai Chong arrived, he recognized Mo Qingyun, and his heart was in his mouth. Who was Mo Qingyun? This was a terrifying existence that could sweep through everything below the nebula realm. Seeing Chai Chong's actions, everyone was dumbfounded once again. They felt that their brains weren't enough. Let Chai Wei kowtow and apologize to Mo Qingyun? Was Chai Zhen's brain damaged? As a Saint Realm expert, he actually asked his son, a quasi-Saint Realm expert, to kowtow and apologize to a Nine Heavens Xian immortal. Was there anything more ridiculous than this? Father, he's just a Nine Heavens Xian immortal kid. Why are you so afraid of him? Chai Wei was not convinced by Chai Zhao's order. Her expression gradually darkened as she said, "Even if he has a powerful background, we will kill all of them now and prevent any news from leaking out. No one will know that we did it." Slap. Hearing Chai Wei's words, Chai Chong was furious again and slapped Chai Wei again. Under Chai Chong's slap, Chai Wei was directly slapped to the ground and fell to the ground like a dog. "Bastard, what do you know?" After slapping Chai Wei to the ground, Chai Zhao was immediately enraged and said angrily, "With young Master Mo's strength, even if he spares us with both hands and his 3 legs, we are still no match for him." Hearing Chai Chong's words, everyone immediately spat. This guy was too rude. Hearing Chai Chong's words, no matter how stupid they were, they realized that something was wrong. It seemed that Chai Chong was very familiar with Mo Qingyun and knew how terrifying Mo Qingyun was. "Okay, you don't have to talk nonsense." Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun showed an impatient expression and waved at Chai Chong. "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Chai Chong immediately trembled and hurriedly nodded at Mo Qingyun. He begged, "Mr. Mo, Chai Wei didn't mean to offend you. Please be magnanimous and don't bother with him. I'll take him back to the Holy Brilliance Serpent Palace and discipline him." "Now you know how to discipline him? What were you doing before?" Hearing Chai Chong's request, Mo Qingyun's face was cold and indifferent. He retorted unhappily and looked at Chai Wei. "Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. If you can take my palm, I'll spare your life today." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chai Chong's face immediately turned pale and his eyes were filled with despair. He knew very well that with Mo Qingyun's terrifying strength, he could kill Chai Wei with just a look. It seemed that Chai Wei would definitely die today. Kid, don't say that I looked down on you. I'll stand and let you hit me 3 times. If I blink, I'll admit defeat. Chai Chong knew Mo Qingyun's strength, but Chai Wei didn't know at all. He looked at Mo Qingyun with an unconvinced expression. Seeing Chai Wei's action, Chai Chong felt dizzy and wanted to strangle Chai Wei to death. You idiot, will you die if you don't pretend? However, with Mo Qingyun next to him, Chai Chong didn't dare to do it. He was afraid that he would be implicated. That's what you said. Seeing Chai Wei's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled brightly and accepted Chai Wei's request. After Mo Qingyun finished his words, he didn't waste any more time with Chai Wei and directly slapped at him. Suddenly, a destructive aura appeared above Chai Wei. When this aura appeared, the sky started to change color and a giant black palm quickly condensed. So powerful. This aura is even more terrifying than Father's. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's palm, Chai Wei's eyes widened and a look of horror appeared on his face. He finally knew why Chai Chong was afraid of Mo Qingyun. However, it was too late for him to realize it now. This kid's palm is definitely not something that I can take. What should I do? What should I do? Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's palm, Chai Wei immediately panicked. He turned to look at Chai Chong and begged for help. Father, save me. I was wrong. I'll listen to you in the future. Hearing Chai Wei's pleas, Chai Chong's face was filled with grief and indignation. He said, Wei, Father can't save you. Go in peace. Be more humble in your next life. After Chai Chong finished speaking, he closed his eyes. He couldn't bear to see Chai Wei being killed. He knew very well that if he dared to make a move, Mo Qingyun would definitely kill him. No. I don't want to die. Father, save me. Hearing Chai Chong's words, Chai Wei's face was filled with despair and he begged loudly. Under Chai Wei's pleas, the giant black palm slammed into his body and drowned him. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't waste any more words with Chai Zhao and directly reached out to grab him. Mo Qingyun knew very well that Chai Zhao wouldn't let the matter rest after he killed Chai Wei. Chai Zhao didn't dare to show his anger because of the pressure he was under. But once he left, Chai Zhao wouldn't tolerate it anymore. Although he couldn't take revenge on Mo Qingyun, he could vent his anger on the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. Mr. Mo, let's talk nicely. Please listen to my explanation. Chai Zhao was stunned when he saw Mo Qingyun's attack. He looked like he was begging for mercy. In the face of Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, he had no choice but to beg. As for making a move on Mo Qingyun, even if he was given 10 guts, he still wouldn't dare to do so. Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up when he heard Chai Zhao's pleas. He immediately had a plan. That's right. His body can be of some use. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun waved his arm and removed most of his palm power. Chai Zhao was grabbed by the giant hand and brought to Mo Qingyun. Mr. Mo, I'll do anything as long as you don't kill me. Chai Zhao stood in front of Mo Qingyun with a pleading expression on his face. He hurriedly begged Mo Qingyun for forgiveness. Mo Qingyun ignored Chai Zhao's pleas. He reached out to grab Chai Zhao's head. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, Chai Zhao's eyes dimmed and his aura started to dissipate. It seemed like Mo Qingyun's attack had destroyed Chai Zhao's soul. Patriarch Lan Tianxiang, clean this place up. I'm going into seclusion for a few days. After killing Chai Zhao's primordial spirit, Mo Qingyun left some instructions to Lan Tianxiang before leaving the place. Okay. Lan Tianxiang did not dare to hesitate after hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions. He immediately cleaned up the place. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's formidable strength, He no longer dared to use his previous attitude to casually converse with Emo Qingyun. Soon, Emo Qingyun returned to his residence. In a flicker, he entered the Fortune mainland. No matter what, we can be considered acquaintances. I'll help her one more time. Arriving at the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun took out Chai Zhao's corpse and sighed with emotion. Next, Emo Qingyun took out various refining materials and refined them and Chai Zhao's corpse. He wanted to refine Chai Zhao's corpse into a corpse puppet to guard the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. A true Saint Realm corpse puppet should be enough to protect the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. Bang! A ball of fire of civilization appeared and quickly refined the refining materials and Chai Zhao's corpse. Under the refinement of the fire of civilization, the impurities in the refining materials and Chai Zhao's corpse were purified. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun immediately dissolved the refining materials into Chai Zhao's corpse. As the refining materials merged with Chai Zhao's corpse, the corpse's aura became stronger. Several days later. Chapter 22-29. After leaving the Fortune mainland, Emo Qingyun went straight to Lan Kuei's residence. Coincidentally, he saw Lan Kuei coming out of her room. "Mr. Emo, why are you here?" Lan Kuei saw Emo Qingyun the moment she came out of her room. Her face lit up with joy as she walked towards Emo Qingyun. "I refined a treasure for you. It can be used to protect the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. I'll help you refine it now." Under Lan Kuei's questioning, Emo Qingyun explained the purpose of his visit. "What treasure?" Lan Kuei's eyes lit up when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. Her face was filled with anticipation. In her opinion, the treasure Emo Qingyun mentioned should be extraordinary. As Emo Qingyun and Lan Kuei chatted, Emo Qingyun took out the corpse puppet and prepared to help Lan Kuei refine it. This was refined from Chai Zhao's corpse? Lan Kuei was shocked when she saw the corpse puppet in front of her. She recognized the origin of the corpse puppet and exclaimed, "You went into seclusion to refine it?" "That's right." Emo Qingyun didn't hide anything from Lan Kuei. He nodded his head and said, "All right, I'll help you refine it. Once you control it, you'll be able to protect yourself in the rolling lightning devil sea." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei nodded and followed Emo Qingyun's arrangements. Emo Qingyun then helped Lan Kuei refine the array disk that controlled the corpse puppet. Several hours later, with Emo Qingyun's help, Lan Kuei finally refined the array disk. "Since you've refined the array disk, I should leave the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe." Seeing that everything was settled, Emo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. He directly bid farewell to Lan Kuei. Lan Kuei revealed a bitter look when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. Her expression was filled with reluctance. However, Lan Kuei didn't urge him to stay. She only reminded Emo Qingyun, "If you have the chance to pass through the rolling lightning devil sea, I hope you can come and catch up with me." "All right." Emo Qingyun nodded without hesitation in response to Lan Kuei's words. He readily agreed and said, "I won't be bidding farewell to Patriarch Lan Tianxiang and the others one by one. I hope you can help me pass on the message." Lan Kuei nodded her head. Then, Emo Qingyun left the purple-eyed blood dragon clan under Lan Kuei's gaze. After leaving the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe, Emo Qingyun's lightning pool, and continued to refine the lightning pool. Although the lightnings refined, the amount, the lightning. Emo Qingyun cultivated for about half a month and refined most of the remaining lightning. Only then did he stop cultivating. After more than a month of cultivation, the wild lightning dragon source overlord body has finally reached the small success level. Emo Qingyun smiled faintly when he saw the results of his cultivation over the past month. His heart was filled with anticipation. He said, "My current physical strength is comparable to a quasi-nebula divine weapon. With my current physical strength, even if I don't use any power, I can still fight against a Saint Realm expert. Since I'm almost done refining the lightning, it's time to leave. Emo Qingyun glanced at the surroundings and sighed with emotion, and then Tower set out towards the incense forest. Soon, Emo Qingyun took out the Divine Prefecture Tribe's flying boat. When he took out the Divine Prefecture Tribe's flying boat, Emo Qingyun summoned ZK and said, ZK, control the flying boat. When we reach the incense forest, send me a soul message. Yes. Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, ZK immediately nodded and started controlling the flying boat. After giving ZK some instructions, Emo Qingyun's figure disappeared in a flicker, entering the Fortune mainland. When Emo Qingyun arrived at the Fortune mainland, he did not continue to cultivate. Instead, he thought of the 9 revolutions celestial devil transformation. With my current strength, I can cultivate the 9 revolutions celestial devil transformation's 5th transformation. When this thought appeared in his mind, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately started cultivating the 9 revolutions celestial devil transformation's 5th transformation. Under the observation of Emo Qingyun's primordial spirit, the cultivation chant of the 9 revolutions celestial devil transformation's 5th transformation was slowly unlocked. 10,000 transformations can transform into anything in the world. Under the condition of not attacking, can deceive the heavens and cross the sea. Transforming into anything in the world, not bad. It's a supreme ability to avoid being tracked. After reading the description of the 10,000 transformations, Emo Qingyun's face lit up with joy and excitement. With this ability, it would be easy for him to shake off his pursuers in the future. Thinking of this, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately started cultivating the 10,000 transformations. Transform. With a thought, Emo Qingyun began circulating the 10,000 transformations chant, trying to transform himself into a tree. Emo Qingyun's figure began to change little by little, slowly turning into an ancient tree. A short while later, Emo Qingyun turned into an ancient tree. At first glance, they looked 90% similar. However, if one observed carefully, they would notice some imperfections. No, although I've turned into an ancient tree, my roots are not complete enough. After observing the ancient tree he had transformed into, Emo Qingyun immediately discovered his inadequacies and began to ponder. Subsequently, Emo Qingyun patiently perfected his transformation again and again. As Emo Qingyun continued to practice, his transformation became more and more proficient, becoming more and more perfect. Several days later. From the looks of it, my mastery of the 10,000 transformations is almost at the initial level. Seeing his mastery of the 10,000 transformations, Emo Qingyun's eyes lit up and he immediately had a plan. If that's the case, I'll go find Linglong and the others and try out the deceptive ability of the 10,000 transformations. With this thought, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and rushed to Qian Linglong and the others' residence. After a short while, Emo Qingyun arrived at Qian Linglong's residence and walked into her courtyard. Qingyun, you're here. Seeing Emo Qingyun's arrival, Qian Linglong smiled sweetly and greeted Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun did not respond to Qian Linglong's greeting and walked out of the courtyard. After coming out of the courtyard, Emo Qingyun transformed into his own figure and turned into a small blade of grass in the corner. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Qian Linglong's expression froze. She was puzzled. Emo Qingyun walked into her courtyard and heard her greeting. Why did he walk out again? Seeing this, Qian Linglong was extremely puzzled and quickly walked out of the courtyard. When Qian Linglong came out of the courtyard, she did not see Emo Qingyun at all. With a puzzled expression, she muttered to herself, "Strange, I clearly saw Qingyun come out. Why did he disappear in the blink of an eye? Was I hallucinating?" Qian Linglong muttered to herself, and was about to walk back to the courtyard with a strong sense of puzzlement. Chapter 2230. After understanding the effects of the 10,000 transformations, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it and immediately changed back to his original appearance. The moment Mo Qingyun changed his appearance, he attracted Qian Linglong's attention. She stared at him with her beautiful eyes wide open. After a while, under Qian Linglong's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun changed back to his original appearance. "Qingyun, how did you?" Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Qian Linglong's pretty face was filled with shock. She did not know how to express her feelings. She would never have thought that the ordinary grass in the corner was actually Mo Qingyun's transformation. At this moment, she finally knew why Mo Qingyun had suddenly disappeared. "I just cultivated a kind of superpower and wanted to test its effects." In response to Qian Linglong's shock, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and explained briefly. He then said, "Because it was to test the concealment ability, I did not tell you in advance. This way, the test results would be better." After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Qian Linglong nodded in understanding. She could understand Mo Qingyun's thoughts. If Mo Qingyun had told her, she would have been mentally prepared and would not have been able to achieve the effect of surprise. "Help me summon the sky-devouring mermaid emperor and the others. I want to borrow their perception to test my illusionary ability." After a simple explanation to Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun instructed her to summon King Devourer and the others. "Okay." After hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qian Linglong immediately went to find King Devourer and the others and asked them to come to her residence. Seeing that Qian Linglong was gradually walking away, Mo Qingyun immediately walked into the courtyard and changed into a potted plant in the pavilion. As Mo Qingyun had done it on purpose, it was obvious that the potted plant he had turned into was out of place in the pavilion. Mo Qingyun thought to himself, the more obvious it was, the better it was to test the level of his transformation ability. After a while, Qian Linglong summoned everyone to the courtyard. Then, everyone gathered in the pavilion, waiting for Mo Qingyun's arrival. "Mistress, why is there a potted plant here? It wasn't here when I came yesterday." As he often came to Qian Linglong's place, King Devourer walked into the pavilion and saw the flower pot that Mo Qingyun had turned into. Hearing King Devourer's words, Qian Linglong's expression changed instinctively. She knew the origin of the potted plant. She didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would be so conspicuous when he transformed into someone else. "I just brought it back today. I haven't decided where to put it yet." After being stunned for a short while, Qian Linglong immediately explained. She didn't expose Mo Qingyun's identity and said, "Everyone is bored waiting for Qingyun here. Why don't you give me some ideas? Where should I place this potted plant?" Hearing Qian Linglong's words, everyone's expression changed, and they began to look around. At the same time, everyone began to study the potted plant, thinking about where to put it. "Mistress, I think this potted plant is very suitable to be placed beside the pool. The flowers in this potted plant are very bright. I think it would be more appropriate to place it in the center of the flower bed. I think we should continue to put it in the pavilion and bring some flowers to accompany it." Everyone began to talk at once, voicing their thoughts. While everyone was talking, they didn't realize that the potted plant was actually Mo Qingyun's transformation. "It seems that with my transformation ability now, even Saint Stage experts can't recognize me." Seeing the reaction of King Devourer and the others, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He had a clearer understanding of the transformation ability of the manifestation of all things. Then, Mo Qingyun began to transform, preparing to change back to his original appearance. As Mo Qingyun changed his form, the sky-devouring mermaid monarch and the others were shocked. While everyone was shocked, their expressions turned cold, and they were about to attack Mo Qingyun. "Everyone, stop. This potted plant was transformed by Qingyun." Seeing the actions of King Devourer and the others, Qian Linglong immediately became nervous and quickly stopped them. Hearing Qian Linglong's words, King Devourer and the others were stunned again, and they looked at Qian Linglong in confusion. Then, under their shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun changed back to his original appearance. Master? You really transformed this potted plant. Master, is this your new superpower? Mistress, you're ganging up with Master to bully us. How bored are you? Sigh, as long as Master and Mistress are happy, we're satisfied as your subordinates. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had changed back to his original appearance, everyone believed Qian Linglong's words and looked aggrieved. Hearing what King Devourer and the others said, Qian Linglong felt even more aggrieved. She said with a gloomy expression, "You've wronged me. Before you came, I've already been tested by Qin Yun once." Everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. Qian Linglong's words had really shocked them, and they were very surprised. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun would even toy with Qian Linglong. What else could they say? They could only say that Mo Qingyun was too evil. He did not know how to be gentle with a woman. I've just cultivated a transformation superpower. Since I don't know how powerful it is, I'll test it on you guys. Looking at everyone's gloomy expression, Mo Qingyun explained briefly. A faint smile appeared on his face as he said, "At present, even if my transformation superpower can't steal the sky and hide from the heavens, it's not a problem for me to hide from true Saint Realm experts' senses." Hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, everyone felt relieved and no longer complained about being toyed with. They were Mo Qingyun's servants. It was natural for them to solve problems for Mo Qingyun. Alright, all of you can leave now. After learning about the 10,000 transformation superpower, Mo Qingyun waved his hand at everyone, indicating for them to return to their work. Under Mo Qingyun's signal, everyone immediately retreated and went back to cultivate and improve their cultivation. Master, we've arrived at the incense flame forest. When Mo Qingyun ordered everyone to leave, ZK's soul transmission appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind. Receiving ZK's soul transmission, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy and he left the Fortune mainland. Mo Qingyun came out from the Fortune mainland and went to ZK's side. He put away the flying boat and said, "Come, let's enter the incense flame forest." Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the incense flame forest's entrance. He forcefully broke through the barrier and entered. Mo Qingyun entered the Joss flame forest. Based on the memories in his mind, he went directly to the place where the statues were. A short while later, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of the statues with ease. Mo Qingyun stood in front of the statues. He sensed the energy inside the statues to confirm if it was the same as Ting Zhao's. Under Mo Qingyun's probing, his gaze fell on the statue of the sheep beast, and his expression immediately turned cold. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.